here is big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live at the Bike, brought to you in the beautiful floor of the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. Of course, I am joined by the Tuckster, David Tuckman. How you doing tonight, Dave?
Beautiful floor.
The beautiful floor of the Bicycle Casino. We are going to be doing a 5-10 no-limit game. It's an unrestricted buy-in no-limit game. You can buy in for whatever you want. It's $500 minimum.
Right.
And we have some usual big action players at the table. So without further ado, let's get to the action.
Yep, you got the same usual suspects here. Usual Suspects. What a great movie that was. Anyway, in seat one, we've got Moises Lopez, known as Diablo. There he is. I think he runs most of the plumbing in Los Angeles. And there he is. Seat two, we've got Arturo Ceniceros. And there's Arturo. Seat three, we've got Midnight. There he is. Haval Habas. Seat four, we've got the Greek poker guard. It's George, is Georgian. Seat six, we've got Jesus, folks. It's Jesus Davalos. And there he is. The myth, the legend. Seat six. That's actually seat five. Sorry about that. Seat six, we've got Tommy Huffnagel. Tommy's a local pro. Really tough player. Solid. Seat seven, we've got Jeff Isles. And he's a newcomer here. New face here. Shiny head. Seat eight, we've got Mark Mouton. And there's Mark. And he actually comes down specially to play live at the bike. And seat nine, we've got Jimmy Delgado.
And Mark just had pocket nines when Diablo had pocket aces. There was only one overcard on the board, and on the turn, Mark mucked it.
Wow.
So there you go.
There you go, huh?
Button's going to move over to Tommy. Tommy is real tight.
Yeah, but there's a difference between tight and like tight passive, which we don't advocate. We don't think I don't necessarily say that's a good player.
Right.
And then tight, solid pro, and that's Tommy. Tommy is a player that he's a winning player.
So we're going to look at the first chip count. Now, these numbers might be a little bit skewed because I heard that there was a big pot. It's about 10 minutes old, so we'll get an updated one here as soon as possible. Looks like George in seat four, the Greek poker guard, had 7,000. Wow. Covering the table.
Yeah.
So let's get into the first hand of the night. Four-way action. I believe it was limped around. King, 9, 8 here on the flop. Rainbow.
50.
Looks like Arturo has an open-ended straight draw. He bets 50, and Mark calls a top pair weak kicker. Turns a queen. Pot's probably about $140 now. And C2 continues to bet with his draw, and Mark is out of there with this weak kick.
You know, I got to tell you, I like the laydown here by Mark. Because if you put the guy on a draw, if you put him on Jack 10, well, he just got there.
Right.
The only draw he can't beat, the only draw he still has can beat is 6-7.
And Mark, of course, you won't see him be playing those pre-flop hands. He was in the big blind.
Yeah, you don't want to make a stand with King with only a 4 kicker.
The board is now King, 8, 9, Queen. Your hand is really not that strong.
Right.
Of course, we got the Jesus in seat 5 and Diablo in seat 1, big-time action players. Again, I wonder who owns more shirts of the same kind, myself or Diablo, the Amoika Plumbing or the Banana Republic stretch shirt.
There we go. He is the copper recipe specialist, I want to say. Is that what it said?
Of course, if you want to follow a live thread that started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out. Go to forums and World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments. The official Live the Bike thread for October 20th. You can also email us at live@thebike.com. Family pot limped around.
Yeah, 7-way action here. Yeah. That's a $70 pot now.
King, Queen, 8, 2 diamonds. Doesn't look like anyone has a king or a queen.
Now, looks like Midnight there is the best hand with 8-9.
Turn is a deuce.
Well, now Mark's got 2 pair. Mark over in seat 8.
Yeah.
He actually has a flush draw as well.
Wow. And he checked it from the first position. And the river is a 9. And now Hav has a better 2 pair than Mark. Mark had 2 pair and a flush draw, did not bet. Do you think he might have been going for the check raise there? It was limped around, and everyone checked the flop, so.
Yeah, you can't expect somebody to bet on the 2 of clubs.
And I believe it's a $60 bet here. And Hav makes the call.
I almost bet it at the turn, but I think that's what you were waiting for me to do. I was going to, but then I stopped.
And 8-9 is going to be good here. The bottom of all bottom 2 pair there.
Yeah, and some people might say, well, why didn't Midnight raise there? But at 8-9, it's not exactly a real raising hand there.
No, not that board.
A lot of hands that,
Definitely not.
a lot of hands Mark could have had there. Mark could have backed into a straight, having Jack 10. Could have even had Queen 9%.
Dave, I was talking about the Ladies' Night 3 on the WPT was supposed to be last night, but it's going to be Saturday night. They switched it at the last second, so check that out. That will be all I say about it, I promise. But Saturday night at 8 o'clock, which they don't normally do new episodes of the World Poker Tour on Saturday.
Well, I'm glad it's not on Wednesday, because, Wednesdays all I do is watch Live Bike.
Right.
Saturday, okay. Then I don't mind.
Pot looks like it's been limped around here. 1 limper and the blinds. So it's a $30 pot. Ace, Jack, 5. Diablo has a flush draw. And why not bet here? I like the bet.
Yeah, nobody can call this. And nobody
He takes
does.
it down, and he shows the flush draw. If people who are not familiar with this game, if we keep the shot on here on Diablo, the yellow chips are $5 chips. The purples are $25 chips. The whites are $100 chips. And those blues are $1 chips. If you see a big green chip, those are thousands.
So something like that, you look at his stack there, that stack of whites, that stack there is only about 1,300. That one's probably 2,000. Each stack of purples is 500.
Right.
Each stack of yellows is 100.
20 chips in a stack, so 20 times 5, 20 times 25. There you go.
Got a real passive table so far, huh?
10 to call, so we got a couple limpers and another limper.
5 players.
5-way action, $50 pot. 10-9-6 here. Looks like somebody's flopped a straight, and it's Jimmy over there in seat 9.
Yeah, Jimmy Delgado.
And he's on the button. Well, it's a rainbow board. He's going to bet. He's going to put some money in there. Bet's about the pot. Now, unfortunately for him, I don't know if anyone can call here, Dave. Diablo has a gut shot, King 7. If he called here, he would be trying to draw to a chop pot.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can call, but you never know if maybe they put him on a button steal. And they think he's stealing.
I don't know if Diablo knows it's on him.
Maybe they make a move.
50 ladies.
No, he's going to muck.
50 ladies.
And, yeah, we sometimes say, why not bet on the button with your monsters as well as your steals? Because maybe someone might check raise you there with ace 9 or something, ace 6 or something like that. Yeah.
You never know. That way it also sets up later on when you want to steal on the button.
Right. Also, a bunch of action killer cards could come on the turn. You never know.
There are some pots where you're just not going to make any money on.
Right.
So I'm kind of psyched. Chelsea. I know I had lunch with you today. I waited till now to talk to you about it. Do you know Chelsea is just, we're like 9-0 in the Premiership. Plus, I think a couple of days ago in the European Cup qualifying, we beat a Spanish club 4-0. And 4-0 in football, soccer is, that's just a complete ass kicking.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But Chelsea's on fire. Or Chelsea, as some people call it.
10-8-8 here, and Diablo's got trip 8s. He's on the button. And this is not a... I think I would definitely put money in here if I was Diablo on the button, and he does. 8-10-8, couple hearts.
It's another time that nobody really has anything. Nobody's got hearts. Nobody has a straight draw, really.
Yeah. And he's going to take it down. Well, of course, I know that David likes to say that Chelsea is his team. Of course, I lived across the street from Stamford Bridge for, a year or so.
Well, they're not my team. They're a team I root for, per se. I mean,
You're a Chelsea supporter.
I'm definitely a Chelsea supporter.
I was there back in 2000 when they were in the Champions League and had their best showing. They were up against Barcelona.
Actually, last year was the best showing, losing the semifinals to Liverpool. But this year, they're going to bring it all home.
I don't think we've seen a pre-flop raise yet, Dave. We've seen maybe 5 hands.
No, we're kind of in that feel-out stage, Show's only about 10 minutes old, and they're kind of feeling each other out, seeing where we're at.
6th player.
6-way action, limped around, $60 pot. Ace, queen, 7. Mark's got a weak ace over there in seat 8.
Now, not much value getting in there with some cheap cards because nobody's really giving you action anyway.
50.
Well, he's going to bet about the size of the pot, 50. Weak ace.
Now, Jimmy's got a queen.
Queen, jack. Mark's a pretty tight player, though. Jimmy gets rid of it. Looks like everyone's going to fold here.
That's what I'm talking about in the sense of there's not much reason, to me, there's not much reason to be in there with king, 3, hands that are hands that are kind of speculative in a sense of, you really need some high implied odds to go for those kind of hands. And in this game where they're not giving the action,
Hard to make a move.
why try to be speculative?
Someone asked here on the live thread about this game being a raked game here, Dave. And all our no-limit games all the way up to 1020 are raked games. And then the 5,000 we do, which was 2550, is a time collection. And I believe that in a no limit is actually 3+1, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's actually a better deal than the limit game, which is 4.
I'm surprised the 2550 game is actually a time collection. If I was a player in that game, I'd rather it be a raked game because in no limit, often a player will take 3 or 4 minutes to make a decision.
Right.
7th player.
7-way action limped around. Queen, 3, 5, couple clubs. And again, we don't see top pair. Checked around. Turn is a 9.
Tommy's picked up a straight draw. He's open-ended there with his jack 10. Tommy's in seat 6.
Looks like Diablo actually has the best hand now. Now he's going to bet.
80.
That's 80.
That is my bet tonight. The number.
Now, it's interesting. A lot of people might bet in Tommy's spot from up front when no one bet the flop there. They pick up an open-ended turn. Well, he's going to get rid of it there. Well, there's a couple clubs on board. And Diablo takes it down. He shows the 4.
Nice hand.
Now 4 was a queen, now it's the 4.
See, he's got like at least 4,000 in front of him. Look
Yeah,
at him
we've
there.
seen a lot of we've seen a lot of games like this where they kind of start off a little slow.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of gets going. They figure each other out, and they go, "Okay, now let's start playing."
More like 5,000, I think.
In
front of him.
Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen.
Couple ace rag suiteds here in this hand, it looks like. And we got 4-way action.
Check.
Queen, 9, deuce. Again,
Everybody
no one
misses.
has anything.
Well, everybody has an 8 in their hand or an ace in their hand, looks like.
Turn card pairs the deuce. And the river is a 9. And the aces are going to chop this one up if no one bets here, Dave, it looks like.
Okay. Showtime.
Jesus and Jeff in seat 7. There you go.
Chop, chop. Now, Hold'em, you play your best 5 cards out of 7, so they both have 2 pair, 9s over deuces, with an ace kicker.
I don't even know if I wanted another diamond with that board. It's pretty damn ugly.
button has moved over to Jesus in seat 5. And once he goes on a rush, Dave, the nature of the table completely turns. Because he will be raising every hand.
Without a doubt,
Yeah.
yes.
Every single hand.
We'll get him a couple of shots of Patron, we'll be fine.
And once again here, we do not have a pre-flop race. It's been 15 minutes into the show. 6, 7, 9.
Mark's got 2 pair,
Yeah, bottom 2 pair in seat 8.
but nobody has a 9, nobody has an 8 in this game, so in this hand. So. And Jesus has got a gut shot, but I don't even think he'll go for this one. And he doesn't.
Everybody folds. And he takes it down. And he shows it.
I don't think you want to call it.
Now, if you're in a game like this, Bart, what do you do? Because obviously sometimes the games are almost an organic in the sense that they'll change. You know, the game right now is a little passive, it's a little slow, tough to get action, and then, you know, half an hour from now, there could be money thrown around.
Well, you know, you might start raising up there in position, making that little mini raise, and, you know, betting the flop and seeing if you could take it down.
Yeah, taking advantage of other players' passive play when you're in position.
We got a couple of hands here. I believe that seat 5 is raised here to 30 with ace queen. That's Jesus. Tommy's got queen jack there in the small blind. And Arturo in seat 2 playing over Mo. He's got king jack. And he calls. And Hav is in there with a weak ace.
Really? Wow. Ace 7. Offsuit. What's he doing in there?
Pot is now $150. Rag 864. And
Nice flop for Diablo there.
Yeah, ace 8. And everyone's in there with high cards, so he has the best hand.
And he's in real good shape, too, because obviously if an ace comes, it's not going to help Jesus.
Well, he bets 80 here from early position. And Jesus mucks the ace queen.
Wow.
I love the way you always show
Well, that mini raise idea didn't work that well, huh?
like we don't know what you have.
I think he made it 30, and once people had lived in for 10, I don't necessarily know if that's enough.
Right.
I'm showing you
Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
the best card all the time.
Believe me. That fool before that was a good one.
Button move was over to Mark
See?
there.
Hey, I'm
seat
an
eight.
ace high. What do you want me to pick? It's just good, isn't it?
Tommy is going to post here dead. He had gotten up from the table.
Button in seat 8. Small blind's $5 in seat 9. That's Jimmy Delgado.
Nothing next time. Man,
Diablo in seat 1 is the big blind.
it's like playing Mexican
And
football, you
Arturo
show one card.
is
I won.
under the gun.
I've been meaning to play that game.
Mark lives in here with king 4 suited. Now see, like with a hand like that, Dave, maybe you put in a $40 raise and you bet. See what happens.
If everybody misses, you can take a shot at it.
Ace jack 7 here.
Now, this will be interesting here. Diablo's going to bet. He's got top pair. I'm sorry, he's got a jack.
He's got second pair, yeah. He bets 80.
Now Mark's got the nut flush draw. I'd love to see a raise here.
He just calls. And we're heads up. Thought a $200 pot. Turns at 10. Now it gives Mark straight draw. Diablo checks.
Now, do you take the free card or do you try to take the pot away right here?
Well, he's going to take the free card. And the river is an ace. And it looked like Diablo checked. Oh, he's going to bet 100. So it's a $300 pot, 100 to call.
Yeah, Mark can't beat anything, obviously, but he's thinking, should I make a move or just lay it down?
I know you don't have the ace. I don't either.
Look at him. And I think he's upset at himself. I think he knows he played it poorly.
You're right. I don't have an ace.
Show that worst card. On the 7.
And I think Diablo's going to show a 6. Oh, he showed the jack. Okay.
Huh?
I said that worst.
I don't know if that was the one. That was.
It's one of the reasons why you and I always say, sometimes it's better to raise with your draws rather than just smooth call.
Especially if you always raise with your good hands as well.
Right, I mean, there is a chance, obviously, when you raise, you're opening yourself up to a re-raise, and you might have to throw the hand away if somebody moves all in on you.
Ace jack was good.
But you get somebody with second pair off their hand.
Well, Dave, I see ace-king, so we might actually see a raise here pre-flop.
Getting word we hit a jackpot. And once again in the top section, and once again you and I are not at the table.
Right.
The popular theme of the last couple of weeks.
Right.
We've had about 6 jackpots in the last 2 weeks, all in the top section, which is where you and I are. And neither one of us have been at any of them, huh?
Jeff is raised here to 30. And Arturo makes a call with king 4 offsuit.
Oh, he's in bad shape.
Heads up, ace 8-7.
Now he's in worse shape.
Jeff bets 100 here.
And the jackpot was actually about $44,000. And the turn would have been a 3 of clubs. No big deal. Wow, $44,000. So the losing hand gets $22,000. The winning hand gets $11,000, and the rest of the table shares $11,000. And that's our bad beat jackpot. All you need to do is lose with aces full of 10s to 4 of a kind or better. Sounds simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, very simple.
Man.
Ace queen here for seat 2. I believe that is Arturo, and he's in the small blind. Looks like he has the best hand so far.
You were sitting back here, right?
No, it was over there.
Oh, you were saying
No, that was the low
And he's going to raise.
Yeah.
No, I was playing the 3.
Raise 40 more.
He makes it 40 to go.
40 more.
They should have all picked that up.
No, the guy gave me
And Jesus calls. It's actually 40 more, so 50 straight.
Diablo, come on.
When I was at Commerce, it was a guy, man.
And action's back over to Diablo. This is what we need. 7-10, Jack 9. And we are going to see a flop
Well, there
here.
we go. We got about $170 pot now.
While Trio hits his ace, and he bets. Now Diablo has second pair. He bets 40 into a $170 pot. Wow.
Kind of a limit bet.
6-8 or something blind. The fuck from 6-6-6.
Little feeler bet to see where he's at.
Pocket aces was
Diablo calls. So now the pot's about 250. The turn is a 6.
and I ended up winning like 500 bucks in the pot.
Eh?
I went under the table.
And let's see what Arturo does here with the ace queen.
I would imagine you'd want to bet at least $150. Maybe even $200 to protect your hand.
His big blind, and he would have flopped the quads had he just taken one more hand.
I think it's 200. There we go. It's 200. So it's now a $450 pot, 200 for Diablo to call. Well, the issue is there for Arturo. I mean, if he bets so small on the flop, and Diablo hit a 10 or a 7, would he get himself in trouble? Would he be able to get away from ace queen? I mean, he's almost betting Diablo in there. I mean, those are the types of bets that you sometimes make with something like 3 aces, where you try to put some money in the pot, but you kind of hope maybe the guy calls.
Yeah, I've seen some people do that on the flop, and they almost don't want to commit themselves to a hand until they see a safe card on the turn. I'm with you, though. I mean, I'd rather see a little bigger bet, even a $100 bet on the top. I don't think you necessarily need to bet the entire, the pot. Bet a decent amount.
The Greek poker god here is going to straddle. Seat number, Jesus in seat 5 is straddle.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen George straddle.
So we have it's 20 to call, and Mark has made the call with King Jack suited in seat 8. Diablo's in there with a weak ace. The button call.
Wow, I'm really surprised. Midnight there with King Queen suited.
That might be a time to raise it up and try to take some of those limpers.
Why not? I mean, you almost definitely have the best hand.
$120 pot, and he flops a flush, open-ended royal flush.
Well, then again, if you're going to do that now, this is interesting. Diablo has the ace of clubs in his hand.
Right. And I think Hav checked it from up front.
And Mark's got top pair.
100.
Well, he bets 100, and I have to think that Hav, especially if Diablo calls here, is going to check raise. I can't imagine that he's going to smooth call. This is his intention.
And Arturo's in there.
Yeah, and Arturo's in here, and really now, Arturo's got bottom 2 pair.
Oh, wow.
Bottom 2 pair for Arturo. So now what does Hav do? It's a $100 bet here, and he's going to make it 500 here. 500. Now, is Arturo going to get into trouble?
Yeah, I think Mark will get away from it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Especially with all those callers behind you.
The pot is now about $920. It's
Does Diablo get himself in trouble?
It's about 500 to call, I believe, or 400 to call.
Everybody's got too many clubs already.
So 400 back over to Diablo. Pot's upwards of $900.
400 to call, huh?
Yeah. How about a 9 of clubs on the turn if Diablo calls? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if somebody calls here, what do you put him on? Somebody called my check raise?
Somebody calls you, put him on either a, possibly a set, 2 pair, or the ace of clubs. I mean, it's the only things you can really think of, right?
It looks like Arturo's kind of short there. He might only have maybe 500 left or so, so he might commit himself to this hand.
Oh, you mean it's chips-wise?
Yes,
You're talking about him personally.
He's got about 600 in front of him. Looks like Diablo's going to make this lay down.
Never do it.
Again, the pot's about 900. It's 400 more for Arturo to call.
Now, if you're Arturo here with 10-5, there's not much you can beat. You can maybe beat, like, King-Jack with the king of clubs only.
And I think he's going to... Did he say he's all in? What happened here? I think he's all in, Dave, and I think that Hav pretty much basically instantly called him. Oh, okay, well, maybe it's just a call. Okay, it's just a call there. Now, the turn is an ace.
Well, we got to make sure those players put their chips in before the dealer burns and turns.
Yeah. Oh, now we're getting... I don't know what's going on here. Okay, he's all in. He's all in with bottom 2 pair. He's going to need to spike a 10 or a 5 here, Dave. And the river is a 9, and Arturo's going to take down a big pot.
See what I laid down for you, my friend?
$300 more there on the turn than whatever Arturo had left on the river.
It was about in all, it was about a $2,100 pot.
Yeah, big pot. A little difficult to follow the action there.
Yeah, Diablo's head got in the way. I couldn't really see. But obviously it went to Arturo. Arturo called the turn bet.
Right.
And then it went check. Hav went all in and then got called on the turn.
Pretty big pot there for Hav.
Full house is the only thing that can get him out. You know that? Yeah.
What am I going to do, lay down?
And 10-5, the only hand you can really beat is if somebody has maybe ace-jack or king-jack and the ace or the king is a club. You know, you have top pair with a club draw.
I don't do it, not against him.
Diablo limps in here with another weak ace. Boy, Dave, aces have just been really accounted for tonight. And Midnight just limps in there with ace-jack on the button. You know,
Really?
Yeah. And again, it's limped around.
Ace-jack offsuit is not a hand I like to take multi-way, to be honest with you.
7-way action. King 5-6, couple clubs. We're getting word that Arturo's rebought for the minimum, 500. Looks like Mark with the King 8 has got top pair, and so does Jesus, and Mark has him out kicked. Jesus bets here. I think it was 50, and Mark just calls.
Yeah, Mark's somewhat passive. He likes to just smooth call a lot, rather than really commit himself in
And
raise.
Diablo calls with ace-6. Trying to spike that 2 pair or trips. And the pot now is about $220. The turn is 4.
Well, that gives Jesus some more outs.
And Jesus is going to move all in. Let's see how much more it is. 260 more, so it's about a pot-sized bet. And what is Mark going to do over there in seat 8? I think he is folded.
Yeah, Mark folded.
And now he's upset because I think Diablo is going to fold as well. And Mark had the best hand. Jesus is showing the 8 here to Diablo. Showing 7, excuse me, the 7.
Diablo's actually still thinking about it. He showed him the ace, and he showed him the 6, and he's still thinking about it.
We're playing Mexican poker now.
Remember, Jesus bet the flop, so.
Jesus has played it pretty straightforward today so far.
Yeah. Now let's see if Diablo makes the call here.
Diablo's in really bad shape here. He needs an ace or a 6, and that's it. He has 5 outs. Not even, because we saw the ace and jack out, so we're talking 4 outs.
60 is it?
260. The pot, Dave, is about 500. So, and he's going to make the call.
Wow.
One out. Give me one out.
So here we go. Yeah, he's going to need to spike that case ace or 6. And the river is a 4.
It's not going to do it.
Nope. And Mark's hand would have been good. Kings and 4s with an 8 kicker.
Yeah, the 8 would have played.
Yep.
Because Jesus obviously had kings and 4s with the 7 kicker. Once again, we are live here. We're unedited, unscripted. So keep that in mind. Obviously, once in a while, the action can be difficult to follow for ourselves.
No, sabía que traía el sé que trae para diseño con el alto. I got it go like that.
You got a straight draw, right? That's why it kind of scared me.
That's why I went like that, because I had...
I was praying just
And I can't blame, once again, I can't blame Mark for throwing that hand away, because think about it. There's 6-5-4 on the board, right?
Right.
So if the guy has king 6-5-4, he's got 2 pair and you beat there. And if he has a king higher than that, well, then you're out kicked. You know, you can only beat king deuce, king 3, and king 7. Or obviously some sort of club draw or something like that.
Right. And we're linked around here. 7-way action. Queen 8-9, couple spades. Looks like Jesus has top pair again with queen 3, but this time George, to his right, who checked it, has the better kicker with queen 10. Jesus has bet 75 here. And Jimmy's going to call with the nut flush draw. And let's see what George does when it comes back around. But look at seat 2, Arturo. He's got bottom 2 pair again. And he's going to raise. And this might save George. He's going to
all that action, a bet, a call, and a raise. You're looking at queen 10 going,
And actually, George was on the button, excuse me. I thought he was in the small blind. He was on the button, so Jesus had just let out. And Arturo, he's going to make it 160 more. I believe the bet on the flop was... It was, I think it was a $50 bet on the flop? Or $75?
Yeah, $75.
Okay.
And then a $75 call.
Yeah.
And Jesus...
And
he laid down.
He laid the queen 3 down. So now Jimmy with the flush draw and an overcard. Dave, I want to say the pot would be about, quick calculation, somewhere around $600, 160 to call, and he's going to make the call.
Well,
So
I mean, he's
now
getting decent odds. He has to know that he's going to have to pay for the river card if he doesn't get there now.
Pot's about 750. The turn is a 7.
Gives him more outs. A 6 gives him a straight. Now, obviously, he doesn't know if that 6 is a good straight, but it is a straight.
It's about $700 to $750 in this pot. Jimmy checks.
And I think...
And Arturo's moved all in for looks like maybe $250 there, Dave. And look at this, he instantly calls. So it's about a $1,000 pot, $250 for him to call, getting about 4-1 on the call.
And now he's a 6 is good, a spade is good.
Yeah. And here we go. And the river's a king, and that is no good.
2 pairs.
And 8-9 is going to take down about a $1,250 pot right there.
And that's one of those rare times where having less money actually pays off, because I think if Arturo has more money, I don't think Jimmy can call him.
Well, like I said, at that point, I mean, it's you got to call 250 to win
about 1,000, right?
1,000, and you know, like you said, you know, if your straight card comes, you don't necessarily know it's good, but it could be good by that action. You can't necessarily put that guy on a straight
You're not even
card.
sure your ace might be good.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I mean, your straight may be good, your flush is obviously good. Now your ace is actually not good.
Right, he does, but you don't know what it is and what's not.
Right.
Thinking how many outs you might have, I think I definitely say it's a call.
It was real close.
Yeah,
Getting about
definitely.
4-1.
60 plus 5.
And at that point, it becomes a mathematical problem to try to figure out what your opponent might have.
Diablo's got a little suited ace there. He's going to make it 60 to go out of seat 1. Now, Hob calls with pocket 7s. Jesus has got ace-king, and he just calls on the button, Dave.
Really?
Seeing a more of a lighter Jesus tonight.
Almost cagey.
Jeff's got a little suited connector there. He's in early position. He's not going to play it.
I need a cocktail. I mean, they need a cocktail.
Now, Mark has got king 10 off suit. And it looks like he's going to make the call out of position, and he's in real trouble if the king comes.
And we're talking 4 players at...
$60, $240 pot, and
Thank
it's
you.
about $250 with the blinds.
And there's a set for midnight.
Yep. Hobbs got a set of 7s. Now, unfortunately, I don't necessarily know if anyone can pay him off here. But Diablo bet 80. Let's see what Hobb does with the set. It's about a $330 pot, 80 to call.
Yeah, Diablo's got a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw.
280.
And Hobbs going to raise it up 200 more, so 280 to go.
Wow, look at
shows
that.
the ace-king, he mucks.
Jesus fucks ace-king pretty quickly. We've seen him get rid of ace-king and ace-queen very quickly. He's a different player without the Patron, I tell you.
I wanted to call so bad. I can't believe that.
It looks like Diablo is going to get away from it. He shows the ace of diamonds. And Hobbs shows a 7. Well, the turn card was an ace. And,
Wow.
I don't know if Diablo would have gotten involved with the top pair gut shot.
That was a very good pre-bet.
Well, we saw him just pay off Jesus with a pair of 6s. He might have.
You would have knocked that.
I almost played my super.
But now moves over Tommy there in seat number 6.
5-6. I would have flopped straight. I almost called, but I just. Normally I would. I don't know why I didn't.
And Diablo is going to make it 60 to go. He's got queen 9 of spades in seat 1.
Is that going to be the standard operating?
Hobb just continues to increase that chip stack. And Jesus calls with queen 4 of diamonds. So if a queen comes out here, Dave, we could see some fireworks. And Mark is in there with a little suited ace. So, about almost a $200 pot here. And Hobb, is Hobb in there in seat 3? We can't see his cards. Yeah, he's in there too.
4 players.
So more like $250 pot.
Well, now we're getting some raises in there.
Yeah, Hobbs got king 9 of clubs. And the flop comes jack 7-5. Mark's got the nut flush draw. Didn't really hit anybody, though.
No, well, that's good enough for Mark. He should be firing on this one.
80.
And Diablo puts an $80 bet into about a $240 pot.
And this is a time when Mark's going to have to raise him.
Check raise.
I think you have to.
And he's going to move all in.
Now, the only problem with this, he has no money, and he might get Diablo to call.
Yep.
But he does have the best hand. Even ace high is the best hand now. Diablo is drawing really slim.
10 more.
Diablo needs a queen or a 9. That's not a heart.
It's 110 more here.
I've been doubling this
And
guy,
with that
man. Why
pot,
not
Dave, I mean, you're talking about,
Why not you, man?
I mean, the pot is about, $580, 110 more, and he makes the call.
Yeah, well, he kind of got in there. Just figured the odds were there.
Turn is a 6, and the river is a 10. And
Nothing.
Ace
Ace high
high
wins.
is good.
Yep.
Ace high is good. There you go. Mark with the check raise. Diablo getting a lot of money there, makes the call. A lot of odds there on his cards. He didn't really have anything.
Yeah, and the turn actually really killed him because even his 9 wouldn't have been good.
Right.
He needed an 8. He needed
Or
an
a queen, right?
An 8 or a queen, and the queen couldn't be a heart.
Yep. So Mark takes it down.
Take it down. Well, that's, aggressive play being rewarded.
Like the check raise there?
Yeah, the only problem with the check raise is if a guy had a jack,
Yeah.
you're not going to get him off the hand because the pot is too big.
You're almost, in that case, Diablo call with nothing. The problem with the check raise there is if you're short, you're almost taking the semi-bluff out of it.
Yeah,
Because
there is no semi-bluff.
There's no bluff there.
No bluff whatsoever. It's
Right.
literally just moving in with ace high.
So you might actually like to bet that out instead if you're
Well,
short.
Yeah, with that few money, because what ends if Diablo had bet, the flop was like, what, jack? I want to say
Jack 7-5.
I mean, even if Diablo makes that move with ace 5,
Right.
he has the odds to say, well, $100 more, I'll call. And in that case, a pair of 5s would have won.
Look at this. We got a raise here out of Jimmy, out of the blind with pocket 5s. He made it 35 more. That's not a good flop for pocket 5s.
Yeah, but if you're gonna raise out of the
Yeah.
blind with pocket 5s, you got to follow through.
Might as well bet it. And no one caught anything. Now the turn is an ace. And now Mark has top pair.
Nobody has a heart here.
Well, do you lead out here with your ace-4, or do you think the guy might have had ace-king there and didn't bet with overcards?
That's kind of an odd place not to bet ace-king, though, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is. I agree with you.
Overcards with a gut shot?
Well, he checks. And look at this. He's very sick. You can tell he's irritated. And look at that. A fourth heart comes out, and it's a 10. And it gives Arturo a straight to the king. And you could tell Mark was not pleased by the fact that
That might have been a tell, you think?
Jimmy checked right behind him. And Arturo takes it down. I mean, Mark turned his head and he flailed his arms when
I'm not sure what Mark wanted, though.
when Jimmy checked right there on the turn, right behind him.
What was it? Did he want somebody to bet and then he check raise with the ace?
I don't know.
I mean, because if somebody bets, that means he's lost. You know what I mean?
And like I said, I mean, the reason why I asked you that about ace-king is you look through the range of hands that guy might have raised with. It's almost like when he shuts down, he either has some sort of monster, although it was a connected board, I would still put a bet out there with a set, or he's got something like pocket 8s or pocket 7s, or in this case, pocket 5s. I mean, like you said, he probably would have bet with ace-king.
He's done it twice now, Mark, and he's made the same mistake 2 times. And I'll tell him, I mean, I'm friends with him, and I'll talk to him about it after the webcast.
Yeah.
2 times he's had the winning hand on the turn in first position, and he's checked it hoping somebody else would bet. You got to bet your own hands. Especially at this kind of table where it's somewhat passive. You can't count on somebody else betting every time.
We have 5-way action limped around, so it's a $50 pot. King, Jack 4, couple spades. Arturo's got top pair. Well, he's playing a wide variety of hands here. King, rag, offsuit, early position. And he bets 40.
Like I say, king rag, hidden value to it.
From up front.
Exactly. Come on, look at it. It's king rag offsuit. He doesn't have 1 flush draw. He has 2 flush draws, friends.
8-card hold'em with the hearts.
Hey, if it comes runner, runner, spade, he's got the 6 high flush.
Right.
Well, king high flush, but with the 6.
And he takes it down. Yeah, it's interesting to note, I know there's just some discussion on the live thread tonight about how many different languages are really spoken at the table, Dave. I mean, you've got your Vietnamese, usually your Chinese, sometimes Korean, Tagali, Farsi, and of course Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes you got some French guys coming in here and playing too. Well, seat 6 has got pocket kings.
We let them in here? We still let the French in here? I can't believe that. Man. I thought we clamped down on that.
All he sees is money, right?
Tommy has raised here with pocket kings.
Once again, politically incorrect, live at the bike.
Button calls here with ace, jack of diamonds.
And that's Tommy with king. We haven't heard from him all day.
George is going to come in with a suited connector, and he's got king 4. You wonder if he's going to come in as well. The raise was to, I want to say, the raise was to 60, 80.
I can't show you now.
I'm going to ask Donna to do us a favor, tell us, so we can see actually George's hand.
Oh, it's Arturo with the suited connector. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. We can't see George's hand in seat 3.
4-player.
So we've got 4-way action, Dave, and it's about a $320 pot. And George has got, we can see 1 8 of diamonds. The flop comes 10. I think George actually has pocket 8s there.
Well, pocket 8s are no good.
He's got just chips over the cards there.
300.
It's a $320 pot, and Tommy bets 300 here.
It's an artistic little design that George has put over his camera, I must say.
So it's $300. Can George get away from what we think is pocket 8s? Jimmy mucks the ace-jack.
Yeah, against Tommy, I think you can. You might pay off. Jesus. You might pay off Diablo.
Or you might call and see what they do the next street.
Right, but Tommy,
580.
he raised pre-flop and he's following through.
Well, he's still thinking over there. The pot's about $640, 300 to call.
Let's get a shot at Tommy there, see what he looks like. Or not. Let's just keep it on George.
And George mucks.
And there's Tommy there, takes it in.
on aces or kings. You had aces or kings, right?
No, I don't think he had a pair.
I tell you what, I folded.
Button now moves over to seat 1.
You folded. That's what I said.
Hey, our lovely assistant Donna,
And yeah, I put them
really looking very spiffy today in her red jacket. Wow.
on aces or kings.
I think it's kind of the holiday season coming out in her already.
Oh, I saw it.
You
I
folded
was
tens.
witness. Can you believe that? I put them on aces or kings.
I said, I'm like, you got to limp in just to see it.
So the button is here in seat
You guys
1.
stay like that, I'm going to walk out.
He hasn't played a hand since he sat down.
And Dave, we have a message here from a guy that actually I've never seen. It looks like a ghost post, they call it. Jay Siegel on 2+2. He says a good friend of the bike, Ernie Scherer, is currently first or second in the chip count with about 12 left at the main event at the Bellagio. Now, Ernie has been on the show before.
Oh, Ernie's, I
Yeah.
know Ernie really well.
Yeah, he has. Way back
He's
when
a good friend of the bike.
200 no limit game. Well, he comes here.
Right, I know he
Nice
is. He's a regular here. Actually, he was here the day before the main event, actually, or a couple days before, playing in the 61-20 mix game.
guy. Yeah.
Good poker player and a good guy.
Pot is limped around here. 5-way action. Jack 9-7. A couple of hearts here. It's a queen. Queen 9's got second pair. Hobbs got a straight draw. Hobbs got a double gutter there, right, Dave, with the king 10? An 8 or a queen would make his hand.
Yes, he does.
Diablo bets here as a total bluff. He's got deuce 4. Got checked to him on the button. And let's see what Hobb does with the double gutter. A couple hearts out there.
I'm going to throw away my best card.
He's going to make the call.
That's how he struggles my nines.
So we're going to be heads up here. Now, you wonder if Diablo's just going to give up. Because he has absolutely nothing. Or is he going to continue to fire? Pot's now about $220. The turn is an 8, and there's the straight. And he checks, and Diablo's going to bet again. He bets 150.
It's an interesting bet there. It's a one-liner to a straight.
Pot's now about $400, 150 to call. And I believe that Hobbs going to raise it up. He makes it 500 to go.
And Diablo's got, he's got nothing here, so obviously he's going to fold.
And he does fold. And Hobb takes it down.
Now, if
I
this were
guess-
bluff night, Diablo would be in the lead.
Right. I guess that answers my question. If he's going to follow through with a bluff of deuce 4 on the turn, he did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. If an 8 doesn't fall, or a queen doesn't fall, and it's some sort of blank.
Yeah, Hobb might have folded.
Yeah.
Lots of Spanish going on at the table. I wish I could understand it.
Now, we do enforce English only at the table.
Yep.
But it always pays, like you said, in Los Angeles, to be well versed in other languages.
Yes, many other languages.
I was actually at the table the other day, a couple of days ago, and there were about 4 gentlemen that were speaking Farsi, and I know very limited.
Oh, you do?
Very, very limited.
Really?
Mo has taught me a little bit.
Ah, all the swear words.
Exactly, all the swear words. I can't say a word. I can't say any of it on the web.
Button is going to raise here with Jack 9 of spades. It got limped around to him, and Arturo makes it 30 more to go. Little mini raise.
Mini raise in position.
Greek George is going to call with Queen 4 spades in early position in the big blind. Jesus has got King Jack offsuit. He calls. And Diablo's in there with deuce 7. So 5-way action, $150 pot going to the flop. Ooh, King 3-5, couple flush draws out there, and George has the higher one. Jesus has top pair. But Arturo's got the flush draw. He's the original raiser. And Diablo's going to bet on a bluff again.
Diablo, he doesn't stop, huh?
He bets 80. Let's see what Arturo does. I think he just called.
Now, call. What do you do if you're Jesus here? I mean, you just move in?
Let's see what he does. It was an $80 bet on the flop.
Well, he's only got about $700,
yeah,
$600.
2 callers. And he's going to raise, Dave.
Good play.
Let's see how much it is.
Put some pressure on those players.
250 more which means the pot now is 730, 250 to call.
I mean, and it was an $80 bet. That's a nice size raise.
I think you're both crazy, but whatever.
250 to call, about a $730 pot. And how much does Jesus have left? That's the other issue, too. Because if he only has 150 left, can you call with flush draws?
That guy.
Because you know that's all you're going to face with 2 cards to come.
Right.
You know?
And in this case, he only had 120 left. Why not just move all in?
And Arturo calls. So
Now-
now the pot's like $1,000. And George has got the queen high flush draw. 250 to call.
And you got to figure 120 more. So basically, it's 370 to see the next 2 cards.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
To win 1,000.
Problem is, though, is Arturo's in the middle there. What does Arturo have?
Right.
You know, George is not drawing to the nuts. He doesn't know that his queen high flush is good if he hits it.
Does he think that Arturo might have ace 10 of spades or ace jack of spades?
Exactly.
Something
I mean, you
like
never
that.
know.
Yeah. And he makes the call. So now the pot's about 1250.
I mean, Arturo's almost drawing dead.
Turns a 7. Jesus still has the best hand. $1,250 pot. Is he going to put the rest of the money in? Did he check from up front here? Let's see. Oh, no, he's going to move in.
He moves in for about 125 more.
Okay.
And Arturo's going to call.
Arturo calls.
And I'd imagine at this point, of course.
So that means that it's about 140. So that means, Dave, that the pot now is over $1,500, 140 to call. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
an easy call for George now. Wow.
And Arturo is drawing dead.
And it's about a $1,700 pot here, folks, to the river. And these guys can build it up on the side if a spade comes.
Now, George needs a 6 or a spade.
And the river is an ace, and Jesus' hand is good.
Yeah.
Take it all.
It's amazing nobody has the ace of spades in their hand, huh?
Check. And he can't bet into a dry side pot. He's not bluffing anyone out of anything.
Exactly.
Jesus is in the main. Spade draw. Jesus takes it all with the king jack, about a $1,700 pot.
And if you're Arturo, you got to be sick looking at that going, man, I'm putting my money in the pot and I'm almost drawing dead. And then on the turn, I am drawing dead. Now, once the 7 is on the turn there, George, the Greek poker god, actually picks up another draw. He picks up a straight draw. So any 6 or spade would have given him the win.
Yeah.
Nice pot for Jesus there. Takes down about a $1,550 pot.
Yeah.
Look at all those yellows. It's like a sea of gold.
$1,550 of the pot, and then the additional, I think it was $140 he put in. So $1,700 or so total, I think. Pretty close. Of course, we're doing that on the fly.
Right, we're getting some moving here, folks. Tommy is actually going to move to seat 9.
And look at the chips for Jesus. That can only help the game, Dave.
Of course it can. That and a couple of drinks.
And he's picked up ace-king here from the big blind, and I think he's going to raise this time out of the big blind. I mean, he's got the rush.
Look at him.
Now, Diablo has raised here to 60 with 7-8 of spades out of seat 1. Arturo calls with 7-3 offsuit from the cutoff. And let's see how much Jesus raise it up. Let's see. What's he going to do?
300.
Does he know the action's on him? That's the question.
Playing a little musical chairs here, folks.
I think that the dealer said, did he make it 300?
And there we go. There's
300.
1, 2,
Yep.
300 in there.
Yeah. And Diablo quickly calls like it was nothing with the 7-8 of spades.
I mean, if Jesus has $10,000 in front of him,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But Jesus only has like 1,800 in front of him. What are you doing that? I don't understand.
Well, the pot is now 600 plus. Here we go, heads up, ace-king against 7-8. And Jesus has moved all in here, over cards and a gut shot. Diablo only has a gut shot, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, let's see if Diablo can outplay him, but Jesus isn't going to let him.
He moves all in.
Man, Diablo's gambling tonight, huh?
And I think Diablo has asked for a count. I want to say that Jesus probably has an additional, somewhere close to 2,000? So it's probably around a $2,600 pot, 2,000 to call.
Yeah, well, he had about 1,800, I want to say, before the same, because he was all in about 1,800. And he bet 300, so 1,500 more. Right, he raised 300.
Yeah.
So 1,500. But who cares? You have 8 high. What are you calling for a gut shot?
Got shot with undercards. Strong hands.
Hey, he's at the backdoor spade draw too. Hey, don't discount
Hey,
that.
we've seen it before, Dave. These guys love to gamble. They're two Mexican poker players. Poker is a huge gambling game.
Yeah.
Huge gambling game.
Well, when you're a plumber, you're a gambler.
Yeah.
You know? You're gambling on the repiping world.
Mexican poker is, of course, a different form of poker that we spread down in a different area of the casino. And I think he showed the ace there, Dave.
Showed a king.
Oh, he showed a king, and Diablo's showing an 8. But Diablo's behind right now. I mean, what do you put Jesus on? 7, 8 of spades. He turns it up. And this, if you made this call,
I gotta
would
tell
be
you.
a pure gamble.
To me, somebody shows me 7, 8 of spades. I tell him, listen, okay, call for half.
Right?
You only put 700 in, you can win my whole stack. Please call. Please call.
And Jesus again showing 1 king, and Diablo mucks.
You're still ahead.
And he takes it down.
And just a quick update here, folks. In seat 1, we still have Diablo. In seat 2, we still have Arturo. Seat 3, we've got Midnight there. Seat 4, we've got George. Seat 5, we've got Jesus. Seat 6, we now have Mark. Seat 7, we have now Jimmy. There he is. Seat 8, we've got a new player. Get a name for him just in a second. He was in the game a couple of weeks, if I remember, though. And seat 9, we've got Tommy.
Dave, we have an email here from Joseph Hulskin, and he asks us, how do I get in a cash game at Live at the Bike? Do I just come and sign up? Is there a waiting list? Well, I say get here early, because this is one of the most popular games in town. And you just get to put your name up on the list. Find Dave or me, introduce yourself. We'll get you on there for sure. Introduce yourself to Mo, or you can just put your, walk right into the Chip Girls and put your name up on the board.
We have it listed up there, and anybody can play in the game. First come, first serve.
It's interesting. I haven't seen an email here from Jesus' little groupie there, Marianne Jarvis, yet.
Well, she might not know he's on. It's Thursday night.
Yeah. I'd love to get the lowdown on her. Where is she from? Could she, if she's in the area, maybe she can come down one of these nights.
Put a little matchmaker?
Yeah. Seemed like Jesus was having a little fun with one of the girls last Friday night. Doing a couple shots.
I don't know about you. I saw him kissing Barry Woods.
Now this game is loosening up. Now we have a raise here. Looked like by seat number 8, he brought in for a raise with. Well, no, it wasn't seat 8. Seat 8 is not in the hand. Maybe it was Jimmy in seat 7.
Well, let's play guessing game.
We couldn't tell where the raise was, but we know that Jimmy has the best hand in seat 7. And seat 2 is actually the raiser, Arturo, and I can't believe that Jimmy would open with ace-5 of clubs there.
Yeah. That would be an odd play, for Jimmy at least.
And it gets checked around to the button, and George is going to bet here with Queen-Jack.
I like the bet by George. You know what? You got second pair on the button. Fire at it.
He bets 125, and Jimmy makes the call with the weak
And I
ace.
remember now, we've got Lath in seat 8.
Leaf, okay.
We have Lath in seat 8. I remember him last week. He had a couple of confrontations with Jesus last week.
So George is bet 125. Jimmy makes the call with the weak ace. And Arturo makes the call with King 6.
Well, Jimmy's got to dodge a lot of cards here.
But a $550 pop. The turn is a 6. Oh, wow. Arturo makes 2 pair and he checks it. And George takes the card. And the river is a 5. The river is a 5. And now Jimmy's made aces up. And he's going to bet.
500.
He bets 500, a little under the size of the pot. It looks like Arturo's going to quickly at least call with kings up. He's all in here for maybe a little bit less. And Jimmy rivered him with the ace-5.
Well, Arturo turned him,
Yeah.
and Jimmy rivered him.
Wow.
Getting word that Lath is actually bought into the game for about $2,300.
Unbelievable.
Como las cartas están aquí. Oye, Alex, ¿qué pasó, Alex?
So the button now is going to move over to Jesus in seat 5. Well, now we get some action, Dave.
Yeah, we
Now
are
it's
live at the
fun.
bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10, and we're having a lot of fun here. So hop on to the bike.
Nomás paga después.
You should come up with some sort of live at the bike point system for the players, and the winner for the entire year gets like a Harley or something like that. So that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But it's got to be like a winner of the entire year.
Now it got limped around. Now Jimmy's in the big blind with Ace King, and he's going to raise.
I'll come up with something.
Looks like he makes it 75 to go here, and I don't think anyone can call, huh? Arturo's got King ragged. Oh, he's not going to play it.
Well, we've seen these players, their pre-flop selection is something to be desired.
Yep.
Post-flop, they seem to play it a little straighter.
Yep. Have you been to France before? It's interesting because one of our big detractors on the main thread, that gentleman, Jive Dadson, took a vacation and he was in France. And he was just discussing on the thread about, how the French are. And of course, he actually posted something about tennis. He said the German and the Austrian tennis commentators would whisper over the point, whereas the Frenchmen would just banter over the point. Of course, I'm sure the French were commentating on dirt courts.
You sure he wasn't just making a reference to us?
I think he was making the reference to us as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course. Those damn red dirt courts, Dave, that get me every time. Don't get me started.
I haven't gotten you started. Didn't say anything.
Button here is in seat 6. Greek Poker God there limps in with ace-8 of clubs. And it's limped around.
Yeah, 6 ways.
6-way action. Which means it's a $60 pot. Jack 9-8, couple diamonds. Doesn't look like people have much here. No 9, no jack.
Now, Lath in seat 8. What kind of name is Lath?
I don't know.
No? Interesting.
And everybody checks.
Cool name.
Everybody
I've never heard it,
checks.
though. Another 9.
Yep, 9 of clubs here on the turn. George has the best hand here, it looks like, with ace-8.
Yeah, I'm surprised. See, now, George was aggressive last hand where he bet with the second pair on the button. Why, in a cutoff seat, why would you not bet that?
With ace-8? It is bottom pair.
Take a shot at it, though, especially on the turn.
And now Mark makes a bluff bet. He says, if no one wants this one, I'm going to take it here on the turn. He bets 60. Now let's see what George does here. He's going to call.
Wow.
He makes the call.
Now, can Mark fire twice? If Mark fires again, I don't think George can call.
The river's a deuce. I believe that George is checked. Yeah, Mark just gives up there, and George is going to take it down to
now,
the ace-8.
the problem with Mark's play is he waited to the turn to do it.
Right.
And you look at the board and you go, well, what would have he checked?
Right.
He's not going to check a jack there.
And he's not going to probably check a 9 either.
Right, so you
Yeah.
put him on maybe an 8. Well, I got ace-8.
Right. And I think that's why George called.
Yeah,
Exactly why.
But I think if Mark puts in another big bet on the turn, I do not think George calls.
Button has moved over here to seat 7. And we got a straddle there by Diablo in seat 1. So 20 to call. And we got a few callers. 4-way action, $80 pot. Look at all that garbage. 10-5-5.
Hey, one man's garbage is another man's treasure.
Look at Jesus. He's good with queen high here.
Wow, he checks the nuts.
Gets checked around. The turn is in 8. That nut
Oh.
gives Arturo the best hand.
See, that's what happened. You have the nuts with queen high, and you let somebody get there.
And he's going to bet. And Jimmy calls with a paired board. He's got an open-ended straight draw, 6-7.
You like the raise there, don't you? Better than that call.
Absolutely. And the river's a deuce. And it gets checked down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can easily represent a 5, or if you get re-raised, you know where you're at and you just throw it away.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
If somebody has a 5 there, you don't really want to be going for the straight anyway.
Right.
Because you could have 5-4, you could get there and go broke. Once again, if you have any questions, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Any questions, comments, concerns about this poker game, your own poker game, us,
Clay court tennis.
Isaac. I know there's a huge following for Isaac. A lot of people want to know what he's about, who he is, the inner workings
Where does he come
of Isaac.
from?
Yeah. And I've actually noticed on, if you check out liveatthebike.com, you can look at Under the Gun with David Tuckman, my
It's
blog.
updated, huh?
It's actually updated. And I promise, since our producer is back, it will be updated at least once a week.
Wow. Pot looks like it's limped around once again. And George limped in with ace-king from up front there.
See, I got to tell you, with people calling with such inferior holdings like this, why would you not want to...
Raise for value, right?
Yeah.
Queen 10 deuce. Lath has got a flush draw over there. He's on the button.
Diablo's got 2 pair, though.
Yep. Top and bottom, and he's going to bet 80. Well, George is smart enough where he played it, slow before the flop. He's going to get away from it now, right?
I would imagine so. I mean, he does not have a heart in his hand. So even if he catches a jack of hearts, he doesn't know where he's
Look
at.
at that. Lath mucks the flush draw.
Wow. Now, why are you playing 4-6 of hearts?
Yeah, I don't know what you're really looking to flop.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. It was interesting.
Especially on the button.
Oh, por favor.
Yo me largo y no hay nada perdido. I think this is going to Mexico City.
And the button here is moved over to seat 9.
Te enseño la lista de cuánto debo. Pa que vean.
Seat 9 here. Tommy with the button.
Now, I wonder now, in the Mexican no-limit section, is it English only there also?
I don't
Or
think
is it
so.
Spanish only?
I don't think so.
Is it Spanish only? So it's English. So I'm getting so it's English and Spanish only.
Okay.
Over there.
Yeah, it would be wondered if someone came and spoke a third language if they would object.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, how many languages can you speak? I mean, is there a section where you can speak Vietnamese? Because obviously we are represented by every country, I think.
Diablo is raised here out of the blind. He's got ace-10 of diamonds. He makes it 80 out of the small blind. And Arturo calls with queen-jack. Well, Jesus is in there with king-8. Look at all the diamonds, Dave. Jimmy's in there with 5-6 of diamonds, and Tommy's got pocket deuces.
A girl's best friend, huh?
And he's going to make it a call. Can we even make a flush on this hand?
We can make a flush.
8 diamonds are out, so it would really be something to see another 3. Jack 10-3 here, a couple hearts.
Not surprisingly, no diamond, but Arturo has the best hand.
Yes, he does. Now, Diablo's got ace-10. Let's see if he fires. It's a $400 pot. He bets $150. See if Arturo
Now,
raises here.
Well, with 2 hearts out there and a Jack 10 out there, I think you need to if you're Queen Jack.
And he's short, too, though, but he just makes the call. So the pot is now $700. We're going heads up, ace-10 against Queen Jack. The turn is a 9.
Well, that just makes Arturo's hand even better. I mean, he's got a draw now as well. He's got a straight draw.
And he moves all in. Diablo checks, and he moves all in. And Dave, it looks like the amount is about $330. So the pot is about $1,030, $330 to call. And Diablo makes the call. He's going to need to spike a 10 or an ace here.
Yeah, he's only got 5 outs.
Yeah. So here we go to the river. And the river's a deuce, and Arturo doubles through. About a $1,300 pot.
Now, had Tommy stayed all the way to the river, he would have made trip deuces.
Right.
That's right, folks.
Would have made a set at the end.
If you have a pair, you need to stay in the entire way. You might get there on the river.
Well, I know you're saying that a little bit facetiously, Dave, but we see a lot of limit players play that in that manner.
Oh,
With a
all the
pocket
time.
pair.
I've seen that. I was actually playing with a girl the other day, and the flop is, she raises, I re-raise her in the big blind with ace queen, and the flop comes out 10 jack queen.
Yeah.
The turn is like an 8, and the river's a deuce, and she raises me, and I'm looking at this gun. Did she slow play ace king the whole way? And she flashes me pocket deuces. I'm going, wow. Man, what'd you put me on? I mean, what could you beat?
I gotta win one tonight.
But hey, that's poker, huh?
Think that would be
Pot is limped around here. 3-way action, $30. Queen 7-4, a couple diamonds.
También now?
Doesn't hit anybody. Let's see if Diablo's going to make the bet. And he does. He's been betting in position here, Dave, a lot. He's been bluffing a lot tonight. Oh, Arturo's going to call. He's got bottom pair. And if the 5 comes out, it's not good for Diablo. Pot's now about 190. Turn is an ace. Third diamond. Looks like Diablo's going to fire again. Pretty difficult to call here with 4-5 offsuit.
There's nothing you can beat.
175.
Except the pure bluff.
But bet's about the size of the pot. Yeah, there you go. Aggressive play. And he shows the bluff. 5-10 of spades. You know, it's interesting, too. We haven't seen Diablo play this aggressive in a long time.
Well, he's been playing a lot of tournaments lately and having some success in them. And that aggressive style really does pay off in tournaments.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you've got to get those chips and get them quick if you can. And he's been finishing pretty high. I mean, I can say he's probably gotten 3 or 4 final tables over the last couple of months.
Diablo's going to raise here to 80. He's got pocket 5s from the cutoff. And he's going to take it down.
Now, if you want to check out this show, or any of our past shows, I think we've got 13 or 1,400 hours of content now, plus a Howard letter or a DVD. You can click on liveatthebike.com, click on the archive banner in the upper left-hand corner, and for it's still just $14.95 a month. You can get all that. Okay? So before it's too late, hop onto the bike, and if you're good-looking, you can hop on my lap. Either way.
Going to take a look at another chip count here. So Diablo is in the lead with 4,700. Hobb, he's up a few $1,000s tonight. 4,200. And Jesus is up as well, Dave. He's up like almost $4,000. I think he started off the night pretty close to 500. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Tommy, our pro, in the end, I mean, he's not doing much, is he?
No. We have a raise here by seat 1. Diablo. Ace 10. Makes it 60 to go. Ace 9 to his immediate left calls. I could have sworn we had George up at 7,000 before the show, Dave. Maybe I was wrong about that, but anyways, that's changed. We've got a $300 pot going 5 ways. And the flop comes 10, 9, 9, couple spades.
Uh-oh.
Arturo's got ace 9, Lath has a 9, and Jesus has a flush draw.
We got fireworks coming.
And Lath is going to bet right into the 8-9. It's a $300 pot. He bets 80, and Diablo's got ace 10. Oh, my.
Yeah, we're going to have fireworks in
This
this
is
one.
going to be a huge hand. Diablo calls.
Now, if you have
Look
ace...
at Arturo shake his head. He's
Yeah.
got ace 9.
Look at that acting there. Now, he has to make a move here. He cannot just smooth call this.
And he just calls.
Oh, with a 9-10...
And Jesus calls with the flush draw.
How could you possibly, with
Wow.
ace 9 there, how can you possibly let a turn come up for free? Oh.
And Jesus checks blind. The turn is a spade. Jesus gets there. And here we go. Seat 8 bets 300. The pot is now 850, 300 to call. Like you said, Arturo, man, he played the ace 9 really slow. Jesus checked blind on the turn. Diablo calls. Oh, my.
Oh, come on, move it in, Jesus.
And look at this. Arturo looks like he's just going to call as well.
And Jesus has got to move in.
The pot is now $1,500.
And
he
does.
moves all in.
I tell you, Jesus, he's got, you know what I like about him? He's got balls. Okay?
He's got cojones, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's got. He's got,
Cojones.
big brass ones.
And Dave, I think Jesus has about 2,000.
How do you, I mean, with ace-9 of hearts, how do you just call that flop?
Wow.
I mean, how many draws are out there? Somebody has Jack-Queen. Somebody has 7-8.
I want to say the pot's about 3,500, and Jesus has moved in for 2,000.
Man. Amazing.
Oh, he's got 1,600. So the pot is 3,100. It's 1,600 to call. And look at Lath. He's going to make the call.
Well,
Oh, wow.
Lath remembers Jesus from 2 weeks ago, and he doesn't want to get bluffed out.
And now it's over to Diablo. Pot's now 4,700.
Okay, Diablo's got to know he's dead.
Is it 1,600 more or 1,600 total?
It's 1,600 more.
Oh, okay. So it's a $4,700 pot now, 1,600 to call. And what is Arturo going to do?
Well, I imagine Diablo can't call this.
Oh, no.
And I don't think Arturo can get away from this. And these players are going to need a 5, a 10,
Yep.
an ace, or an 8.
Right.
Those are all the cards that Jesus has to avoid.
10, 5, ace or 8, right?
Ace or 8, exactly.
Yep.
Any of those cards don't come, Jesus wins.
And let's see what Arturo does here. 4,700, 1,600 to call. And he's gonna shove his remaining trips in there. And we got 2 people all in. Looks like Arturo's got maybe 800 left. So the pot balloons over, I want to say,
About
$6,000.
$6,000.
$6,000. And here we go with the river card. The river is a 4, and Jesus dodges it all and takes it all once again. He's got the king high flush.
All right, there you go. Give the money to the man with the big brass balls.
Big cojones.
There you go. I was trying to say that, and I fumbled on it. You jumped in
Look at
there.
him. Does he realize he won the pot?
Like, the money doesn't mean that much for him. He's here for fun.
Right.
It's obvious the money doesn't mean that much. He's excited. Inside, he's screaming.
Wow.
Wow, $6,000 pot. Take it home, Jesus.
Is there any way that Lath can get away from 8-9 there when Jesus check raises all in on the turn?
Yes.
I mean, you got to put, I guess the quick answer is yes.
Yes, there is a way.
I mean, I guess Jesus would have done that with any 9, possibly. But, I mean, your kicker isn't even that good. It's a third spade. You've got 2 people behind you to contend with. That's what my main thinking was.
Yeah,
the
the
2
problem
people
is,
behind.
if Jesus is full of crap, okay, but what about the players behind him?
Right.
What, nobody has a 9 behind me.
Yep.
And nobody's got spades behind me, too?
Right. Biggest pot of the night so far.
And I'm not sure if Jesus would have gotten away anyway. I don't know if he would have folded his flush draw. But
Look at his chips. He's covering up our logo.
there we go. And look at that. Just like that, Jesus actually started with about $500, and he's up with $6,000. I mean, have you ever done that? Turned 500 into 6,000 that quickly?
I don't think so.
Man.
And Greek poker god raises it from the button with ace jack of diamonds, and Jesus says, I call blind. And this is vintage Jesus. Now, the problem was, Dave, a couple weeks ago he went on a rush like this, and he ended up giving it all back.
And some.
Yeah. And Diablo's got 6-3 off, so we can't see what Jesus has yet. Tommy makes the call with a suited connector.
See, some gamblers actually start playing better as they win, and some gamblers give away money when they win. So.
And here we go. We've got 4-way action. $240 pot, I believe. And Jesus has ace-jack as well. He's got ace-jack. He says he's playing blind. His cards are actually over in seat 6's window right now.
Well, there you go. Well, Tommy's not playing blind, and he's got 2 pair.
Bottom 2 pair. And I don't think he bet. I think it went checked around. And now George and Jesus both pick up top pair, and it's a third heart.
Yeah.
Jesus has got ace-jack with the ace of hearts. He checks. Tommy bets 300 now, about the size of the pot, with bottom 2 pair. And George, the action's over to him with ace-jack. He took
Now,
the card.
this is the kind of hand that Jesus... This is the kind of hand that
George
Jesus
calls.
sometimes will move all the way in on.
George calls.
And it wouldn't be a bad play. With top pair and the ace of hearts in your hand.
Yeah.
Because Tommy can't really hurt him. Tommy only has about $300 left.
Well, Jesus is just going to call. He just calls. So I want to say the pot's about $1,300 now.
That was a hell of a welcome to the game.
And here we go to the river. The river's a heart.
I thought I had 10 on
There it is.
Now it's 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
Jack, I mean, Tommy's got to be sickened
Yeah.
by that river card.
Yeah, he should have raised me.
$1,300 pot. Let's see what Jesus does.
1,000.
I go all in.
All in.
And
Jesus checked, and George bet 1,000.
Jesus was going all in.
Yeah,
Wow.
it checked around to George. George actually bet
He bet
$1,000.
$1,000 there on the button, and Jesus check raises him all in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The pot now, Dave, would be $2,500. Then plus Jesus is all in, about an $8,500 pot. But whatever George has left, so maybe $4,000,
Yeah, but George can't beat anything here.
right? He bets $1,000.
Jesus check raised with the ace of hearts.
Check raised him, and he takes it down.
Wow, look at that. He plays him like a fiddle.
Unbelievable.
And George bemoans his bad luck there, but let's be honest, Jesus was actually free rolling against George. They both had the ace jack.
Yeah. Wow. And what was that is unbelievable. Checking the river, George bets 1,000. Jesus check raises them all in.
I tell you, Jesus used to have that hat, JLT. I'm going to get a TLJ hat. I really should. He's like my new hero.
Agarrar aire, pero no quiero que nos peleemos. Poco, 2,000, 3,000, 3,000. Las iba a tirar porque no miré el corazón, traía sotas.
Wow. And what a check raise there. And George almost had to bet. He felt like, you know what? They saw a little weakness from Jesus and a little weakness from Tommy, and he figured, okay, well, one of these guys might have like a garbage heart, but if I throw $1,000 in there and represent a big heart, maybe I can take it away.
You got the second flag? Second nuts?
Unbelievable. He checked it. Tommy checked right behind him, and George. He must have thought, again, his hand wasn't going to win in a showdown.
Well, he must have thought somebody might have backed into a crap heart.
Right.
Somebody has like,
Right.
a 5 of hearts, or even, even if somebody had, say, the queen of hearts, but it's not the nut heart, it's not easy to call a $1,000 bet. It's easy for us to criticize George's play there, but it was a big pot. He threw $1,000 into about a $1,400 pot trying to take it down.
9-8 deuce here. Rainbow got limped around. Diablo's going to bet here 80 with an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, Jimmy's got the best hand, but I don't think he'll call with 8-6.
Oh, he does.
What do I know?
Laugh in your face, Tuckman.
Exactly. What do I know? 8-6? Hey, why not?
Pot's about 200 now. Turns a 5. 8-6 is still good. Picks up a straight draw now as well. And this time Diablo does not bet. So he bets with nothing, but not here with his draw. He takes the card on the turn. And
he's
the
there.
river is a 7, and it gives both players a straight. And Jimmy bets. It is a third club. Let's see how much Jimmy has bet here.
Now, it's a backdoor flush, though. I wonder if Diablo's going to raise him a little.
He bets 100. Oh, and Diablo looks like he just called. Diablo, Dave, I'm going to give him a little bit of hard time on this. Like you correctly pointed out, it was a backdoor flush. And, he's only been playing for about 9 or 10 months. But I think that an advanced player definitely would have raised there.
Yeah, the only problem is I'll throw this at you. And just because the first thing you said was right. What happens if, Jimmy called him? What do you think Jimmy might have called him with? He might have called him with ace-8 of clubs or something like that. And if Diablo raises it up to 300 and then Jimmy comes up the top for 2,000, well, then Diablo's got to throw the hand away. You wonder,
would you have just smooth called there?
I don't know. I mean, you got to be there. I can't. I don't want to give him too much.
Right.
Too much of a hard time because of that, though.
We're going to have to go back and watch this.
It looks like Corporation Mike's going to come in the game. That's going to add some action.
Yeah.
You guys gonna watch it anyway?
Liven it up. Well, we got about an hour and 40 minutes left in
And
the
Jesus
webcast.
with a ton of chips in seat 5 now.
When you guys are there, you guys watch
Yeah,
it.
Jesus has got, I want to say, close to $8,500 in chips now.
Yeah.
And folks, that is $8,500, and he started with $500.
Yep. He's got an unbelievable rush tonight.
I challenge anybody to take the amount of... I mean, Jesus does this routinely. He takes 1,000, he turns it into 11.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? Good times, man. It was fun.
And Diablo's got pocket queens here, and he's raised to 100. And Jimmy's called with ace-7 offsuit. Jimmy's picked a pair up, but Diablo has the overpair. Jimmy checks. About a $200 pot. Diablo bets 175.
That's about the pot, right?
Yeah. Little under the size of the pot.
And Jimmy's playing the player. Gives us some action. Smooth calls.
Just calls. Yep. Turns an 8. Jimmy checks again, and Diablo's going to bet again.
Now, this is the problem with if you're going to play Diablo this way, are you just going to check and call him the whole way?
Yeah. It's
thinking he's bluffing?
It's $225 now. $225. And he makes the call.
Wow. I mean, if you think the guy's bluffing, hey, why not let him bluff?
$920 pot. The river's an 8. And what has Jimmy done here?
Oh, Diablo can't check this down. He can't check this down. He's got to bet it.
Is Jimmy checked here? Okay. So Jimmy has checked.
Come on, nice little value bet on the river here, Diablo.
I think he just checked it down there, Dave, and turned over the queens.
And more case there. Now, see the Jack-10 play where the 3 clubs came on the board? I don't want to give Jesus a hard time there because in that case, Jimmy easily could have backed into a flush because he bet it. But in this case, there's no draw. There's Jack-7 flop with an 8-8. You almost got to put your opponent on a jack. King Jack, Ace Jack, something like that, even Queen Jack. And you know what? If he's paid you off on the flop, and then he calls your bet on the turn, he's going to call a nice $250 or $300, or even maybe up to $400 bet on the river.
Dave, the pot was in the high 900s at that time.
You could easily bet. You're probably more closer to $500 bet then.
Right. That was definitely a missed value bet. There's Corporation Mike in seat 2.
Well, if he's going to call the turn, if he's going to call the flop and the turn, why not? Man.
And
I mean, what, runner 8 made you think that your queens were no longer good?
Corporation Mike, I believe we're getting word he's playing 3,000 behind.
Now, big difference between this and last Friday night when Jesus ran up his $1,000 up to about 13K is he's not sharing 6 or 7 Patrons with a good-looking girl.
Right. And everyone's going to limp around here. 5-way action. Jack, Jack, 5. Doesn't look like anyone has anything here.
Betting 40.
And Corporation Mike's going to come out, and he's going to use that loose, aggressive style. He bets 40. And Tommy's going to call. Is Tommy going to make a move here? He's got King 8. The turn's a deuce. He checks. Mike's going to bet again.
Yeah, I've never seen a passive game with Mike in it.
Mike bets 80 here with 9 high. What was Tommy calling the flop for? And he's going to get rid of it. I thought he was going to make a move there on the turn.
I think a lot of these guys, they call him the flop thinking, well, if this guy's not really strong, maybe they'll check the turn. But they don't know Diablo and Mike.
Yeah.
And we say goodbye to Arturo Ceniceros. And we say hello to Mike, Corporation Mike there.
Live straddle.
And right away, Corporation Mike, he wins a pot, and now he's going to do a live straddle.
So 20 to call. In essence, this hand is a 10-20, or 20 in the big blind, Dave.
Exactly.
Straddle, of course, is a second big blind, and that person will have the option when it comes back around to it.
And obviously twice as much as the original big blind.
It's interesting to note that Mike wants to get into the action so quick. He posts the first hand, and then he straddles.
Right, exactly. He actually posted the hand before that.
Right.
Wow.
Which you can actually straddle to enter yourself in the game.
I mean, tell me that's not screaming, I'm a gambler.
Right. Got 6 limpers, so that means $120. And Mike will usually raise a lot out of the straddle spot, but he's got Jack 4 offsuit. And we've got a set of 6s, and Mike has flopped top and bottom. Oh, wow, and Jesus has got King Jack, top pair. Oh, my.
Oh, what I would give to be in George's shoes right now.
Mike bets 80. Oh, is George looking good here? The Greek Poker Garden, seat 4. What is he going to do? He doesn't look like he just calls. He makes the call. Dave, the pot is now $280. It's 80 to call. And Jesus also just called with the King Jack.
I hope a Jack of Diamonds comes out here. I mean, I hope a diamond comes out, kills George's action. I mean, come on, George.
Pot is now 340. The turn is a 9. And there's no way Corporation Mike is getting away from this. We've seen him so much. He bets 250 here, about the size of the pot. Actually, the pot's 340, so it's about...
I mean, you don't have to raise big, but you can make it up to like 600 here.
It's about a $600 pot right now.
And he's going to raise here. I
Let's
think he's
see.
going to raise. He looks like he's going to.
240 is the bet. 600 is the pot.
I mean, you got to love it. You have a set, and you've got Jesus on one side of you and Mike on the other side of you.
He makes it 700 here. Now, is Jesus... Look at this. Jesus going to muck the King Jack? He's going to muck the King Jack? He mucks the King Jack. Wow. Potty's now 1,300. It's another 450 for Mike to call.
I'm shocked.
1,300.
I can't believe
450. Mike's got 3,000 behind.
And look at that. Jesus is playing the player.
Yeah.
He didn't want to give George any action.
And Mike makes the call. The pot's now 1,700. Mike checks blind. A 10 on the river. Now let's see how much George can extract.
Now the pot is what?
I think I said it was...
1,800?
1,700? He checked it down, Dave! He checked it down at the end!
What is he doing?
Oh!
Greek poker got
And
my
look at him
ass.
shake his head!
Oh,
my God, he could have had all of Mike's money.
He
Wow.
he thought the 10 was a scary card. He's looking and going, oh, the 10. What, you put him on King Queen?
Oh. You got to play the hand back in your head, George.
What, you think he had 7-8 there? I mean, what do you think he bet the flop with?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
You're
man.
praying that he has something like Jack 10 or Jack 9. You made a raise on the turn.
And he called you.
And he called you. Wow. And then, again, we saw that.
Man.
Some
Come
people were
on,
giving
George.
George a little bit of a hard time with that river bet earlier as well.
Well, I thought, so the river bet I liked when he bet $1,000 there. I think he knew he had to bet it to win it when he did the flush. But this hand here, and I'm friends with George, and I'll tell him later. I mean,
Wow.
that's just a crap check on the river. He easily gave up $1,000. Don't you think?
I think more. I think Mike.
I don't know how much money George had left.
Corporation Mike had already put in about $700-800. He had $2,200 behind. George had him covered. I gotta say, if George moves all in, I've seen Corporation Mike make that call before.
Okay, so how much money does George have?
He could have made $2,200 more.
Did he have $2,200?
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
yeah, he does.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so that is.
He's got a couple of big chips over
Well,
there.
that's $2,000 that he lost then, as far as I'm
Wow.
concerned.
Yeah.
$2,000 that he left on the table. And if you want to make a nice value bet of $1,000 to make sure you get called, definitely lost $1,000. Because there's no way Corporation Mike gets rid of that.
Yeah.
No way.
Now Jesus is bet here with King 4, and he's going to take it down. And Mike lays down pocket 3s.
Nice bluff there by Jesus. Take it down with King High. Man, I understand that when you bet on the river in no limit hold'em as opposed to limit hold'em, you are opening yourself up to a dangerous check raise. And when you're playing a tricky player, you've got to be careful. But you've got to replay the hand in your head. And we've seen two cases, one where Diablo had those pocket queens, and in this case here, where a set of sixes, it's clear. You've got to bet the river. You've got the best hand.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. And again, I say that George had all of Mike. Mike had about $2,200 left. George had him covered at the end. Had him covered.
Yeah, wow.
Limp here.
And to me, that's as bad as losing a $2,000 pot, or maybe $1,500, however you want to think.
Well, you can see the disgust on his face. Now, Diablo has raised here from the button with pocket deuces to 65.
I mean, do you really think Mike is going to check anything better than a set to you?
Oh.
Both.
Fold or you're estás comiendo what?
And Jesus has got ace jack of diamonds. He's going to make the call. Corporation Mike is in there with king jack, pocket threes for Jimmy in seat 7. And he makes the call.
I can't believe you called me with 2 pair. No.
And the pot is about $250 now. Or $260, 4-way action. Ace, queen, 9, couple clubs. Corporation Mike has got the second nut club draw here. No one else really has a high club. And did Jesus bet here with the ace jack? It got checked around. Turns the club, and now Mike has the nut flush.
What do you want? Huh? I check.
He checks again.
Check.
And look at Jesus. He's not falling for it.
Yeah. And everybody checks. And the river is a queen. And now Mike bets.
Betting 125.
He bets 125 here. You know, for some reason... Oh, Jesus pays him off, Dave.
Yeah.
Pays him off. Wow.
You know, the thing is, though, I got to tell you, Mike is capable of making this move as a pure bluff.
Right.
I mean, as a pure bluff.
Well,
He could make that move with
the
5
problem I
high.
have with Mike's game is that why not just always be aggressive? I've sometimes seen him slow play monsters, and it's just...
Yeah.
You know, if he had bet the flop, he probably would have been called. If he had bet the turn, he probably would have been called. By Jesus, I'm saying.
It was interesting. Last night, I actually played a shootout. We did a $1,000 shootout here last night, and I was in there with Mike, Corporation Mike, and
Small blind, big blind.
our favorite Alan, and so forth. And Mike tripled up on like the third hand with a set of 9s, and went from 1,000 chips to about 3,000 chips, but then went broke within the next 30 minutes, and got knocked out like 8th.
You're big
That's
blind.
vintage Corporation Mike, right?
Yeah, he shot it up, and we figured, okay, well, Mike's got chips, he's going to be dangerous now.
Nice river, huh, Mike? I had a flush.
But then he pissed him away.
Again, I just can't harp on the fact that George should have $2,000 more right now.
Well, like I said, at least 1,500.
Raise, make it 55 total.
Lath has raised it up to 55 with Ace King of Hearts.
I got 2 live cards. Either 6 or 7. Or 3 clubs. How much is it?
55 total.
And,
Corporation likes to talk a lot.
Yep.
He loves to talk.
Out.
We got a call there by Corporation Mike, King 10. He's dominated, and we're heads up.
Heads up.
And Mike's got position.
Look at this. Jesus doesn't even call a raise with 7-8.
10, 6, 3. He is eating, Dave. So Mike's hit top pair. And Lath is going to bet.
Betting
75 into a $110 pot.
Now, do you smooth call this? Your head's up here. You've got position on him the whole way. If Lath is going to continue bluffing into you, you
Well,
let him bluff into you?
He's in great shape because if he spikes the king, he's got 2 pair.
Yep.
Turns a 9. It's a third spade.
Now, this is heads up, though. You can't instantly be scared of the spade.
Well, Lath checks, and now Mike bets 200, which is a little under the size of the pot. It's now about 450, 200 for Lath to call.
Now, Mike happened to have a 10 here, but Mike would make this play with nothing. Sometimes he'll call with nothing, and if it gets checked to him, he'll try to take it away from the player. And the river was actually, the river was a 10 of clubs. Would have given Mike trips.
small blind, big blind, please.
And Mike is actually playing over Arturo in seat 2. And I think Arturo wants his seat back, Dave.
Well,
So-
Arturo was playing over Mo.
Yeah.
So there are some technicalities in the
Yeah.
sense of when a player is playing over, they really only have a half hour. And Arturo
Yeah.
was really on privilege anyway. I mean, in the sense of... And Arturo is down about $1,500, but between you and me, and maybe our 5,000 viewers...
Look at that. Mike is telling, he says, Jesus, they just called Mexican poker, seat open.
And look at that. They used to want Jesus in the game. Now they're trying to get rid of him.
Five player.
And we've got, looks like 5-way action limped around. Ace 4, ace. No one has an ace. Seat 1's got a flush draw. Diablo.
A couple of people have 4s.
41 cards.
Hav in seat 3 and Mike in seat 2. They both have a 4.
No
Actually, Corporation Mike is not in the hand.
No, Diablo has bet 80
And a straight is better than a full house, right?
on the flush draw.
Straight is better than
Yeah, I don't think anybody can call this.
No. It's interesting. I think that Jesus is explaining Mexican poker to Tommy right now. 41 cards.
Well, there you go. Well, Tom, like I said, Tommy's a local pro. He's a local professional poker
Yeah.
player, and he plays pretty much all the games. He'll play all the mixed games. I saw him playing Heads Up 8160 mixed the other night, and but he's obviously not well versed in Mexican poker.
I mean, and we say sometimes people who are not familiar with the show, we've seen these guys play, Dave, hours and hours and hours. I might go so far as to say that if George on that hand with the set had raised the flop, Mike would have re-raised him, and George might have been able to move all in and still gotten a call on the flop
Well, to be honest,
against
if-
Corporation Mike with Jack 4.
If he raises the flop, he might get more action from Jesus too.
Right. But I'm saying I think that Mike would have come over the top of him, and I think that, George could have pushed all in at that point and gotten a call. Incredible.
I mean, he got really, really lucky that he flopped the set, but and like I said, people shouldn't take it personal, but I really think that he played the hand about as bad as he could play it.
Yep. Jack 7, Jack here on the flop. Mike's going to bet. He's got nothing. Deuce 4.
And I see a lot of people on 2+2 are echoing our sentence there. Kev Math, even Jive Dad.
Jive Dadson says George is a Greek demigod at best.
Demigod at best. I like that. Call him the Greek poker demigod.
That's incredible. Button moves over to seat 5.
every day they're like, I'm going to play live at the bike. Live is sick as a bike.
Button is in seat 5. That's Jesus. Small blind is Mark in seat 6. And that is Jimmy Delgado in seat 7 with the big blind. Folds around to Diablo. And he's going to limp in.
And Mike
Mike's-
raises.
60 total.
Makes it 60 to go with King 9 of spades. Mark has got Ace 9 of diamonds in seat 6. Looks like he's going to come in. Jesus is in there with pocket 4s. And we got 4-way action. $240 pot. Diablo comes in with 6 deuce of clubs.
Well, there you go.
So 60 times 4. Here we go. Jack, deuce, 5. Mark's got the nut flush draw. He checks it from up front.
Diablo, I think Jesus still is the best hand, though, huh?
Pocket 4s.
Betting 80.
Diablo bets on the deuce. He bets 80.
80 no look? I like the 80. I like the 80.
And Jesus calls.
Good time for a raise.
And Mark calls. So we've got about a $500 pot here. Going to the turn. Turns a deuce, and
Oh.
now Diablo's made trips.
Wow. And that looks like a cut out pretty, doesn't look like a real scary card there.
Diablo bets here.
Betting 250.
Bets 250. And Jesus makes the call again. The pot is now 1,000. It's 250 to call. Mark's got the nut flush draw. Again, getting 4-1. Does he think his overcard is good? And apparently he does. How about a 6 of diamonds here on the river?
Oh, don't say that to Mark.
$1,250
How about
here.
a 4?
Yeah, 4 would be something. Oh, the rivers and aces are going to get him in trouble.
Well, this is your question now.
$1,250 here in the pot. And Mark is going to bet. He moves all in here, Dave. He's taking all the play out of it. It looks like it's at least 500. It's about a $1,750 pot, 500 for Diablo to call.
Mark, say it ain't so. What are you doing, buddy?
Look at this. Diablo's not calling instantly.
He's only not calling instantly because he's not sure if he wants to raise. He wants to keep Jesus in there. He's not going anywhere. He's not thinking if his hand's good or not.
So about 500 to call here.
He's just deciding whether he wants to raise or not.
There we go. There's a great shot of Mark. And Diablo makes the call. And Jesus can't overcall now, can he?
510 only.
You see, he wants Jesus in. That's the whole point.
And he shows the 4s and he mucks them. And Diablo's going to take it down with a deuce. Look at this. He slow rolls him. Oh, wow. $2,200 pot. Scoop it over there for Diablo.
Oh, Mark.
Oh, there. Corporation Mike can now stay in the game.
No, I think Mark just said lock it up.
Did he?
I believe so.
Well, we can at least shuttle Corporation Mike over to seat 6.
Diablo guy's crazy. We gotta get down to the bike right away.
And the star on the way back. Big line. There's your seat, Mike.
And the thing with Mark is, the reason I don't like the play is some people can harp and go, well, if the guy had a jack, maybe he pays him off.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that. But being so short-chipped, why not make a move on the flop? You might not get called in either spot.
I want you to come in.
You know? Can Diablo call a pair of deuces? I'm not sure.
Can never get him.
Well, we got word that he was going to reload there, Dave. Seat 6. And Arturo is still anxiously waiting to get back in the game. He saw a shot. There he is.
I gotta play my hands on. Look at the pot, man.
I looked down. I said, "Oh, that guy's."
And
Raise. What's 100?
we got a raise here by Tommy out of the big blind. He makes it 100. He's got ace queen of spades.
You know, I hate to harp on George missing that bet, but this is in poker. If you want to be successful at it, it really is about minimizing your losses and maximizing your gains.
Well, the problem is that we harp on in George a lot, that George plays the smaller games differently. He really does.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
If he's in the 200 game and he's only got $200 in front of him, he's all in.
Yeah.
He doesn't even think about it.
And George is going to call Tommy's raise out of the blind with 10-6 of clubs.
He's calling Tommy's raise?
Yeah.
Wow.
4-way action here, $400 pot. Top pair there, but Tommy's got overcards and the nut flush draw.
Well, this will be interesting. Let's see how it plays out.
Tommy checks it. And George, he's going to bet.
Yeah, now Mike is in there also, and so is Jesus.
Betting 250.
He bets 250. And Jesus calls with ace-4, and look at this. Tommy's going to check raise all in here, semi-bluff with the ace-queen of spades.
And that's a real poker play.
Yeah.
You know, if he doesn't get called, fine. If he gets called, he's got outs.
Oh, he's got a ton of outs. Now, the problem is that if Jesus calls, he's got less outs. But I don't think so.
And you see the huge difference between Tommy. You see a huge difference between Tommy Huffnagel and Mark.
And he shows the queen of spades.
Yeah.
He shows one card.
And Mark Mooten there. Mark has a flush draw and overcards, and he merely check call, and then he moves in.
Right.
Great play there by Tommy. It's not always going to work, of course. You know, sometimes somebody will have a set. Sometimes people will have two pair and they'll lose. But aggressive play is rewarded more often than not.
Big blind, sir.
So Tommy takes it down. And George is just getting tossed around, Dave, tonight. Even though he's probably up.
But you're still coming back, right?
The demigod George.
Well, yeah, I mean, he won a lot of money on the pocket sixes. Let's not. I mean, that
Yeah.
pot was about $2,500, right?
Yeah.
I'm staying. It is for me. That is for you.
Just don't start kissing over there with Maniaco right there. I want him because he
Well,
raises.
Mark's not back yet, so Corporation Mike is going to move over there to seat 6.
Hey, Tommy, you have 2 spades, right?
7 player.
So actually, we're getting word that Mark is out of the game, Dave.
That's
So
too bad.
Corporation Mike is going to take it over. And seat 3's flopped bottom 2 pair. That's hot. We haven't heard from him in hours.
Well, I didn't know. I forgot he was playing. Now, nobody has a king, though. Jesus does have an open-ended straight draw, though.
Betting 75.
Hot bet 75 here. And Jesus calls.
Now, if a harmless deuce comes out, you wonder if Hav will go broke to Jesus. Remember, it is Jesus.
He called.
This is one of those straights that might not be quite as apparent.
Tommy loves check raise. All the time.
Especially with a king on the board, it's very easy to put Jesus on a king.
Respect for me.
Turns a 5. Well, that fills Hav up now. And he checks it. And the river is a 7, and Jesus gets there. Oh, wow. And what has happened here? I believe the action's on Hav.
The action is on Hav. And we're trying to see exactly what's going on
See
here.
what happens here.
I'm gonna bet the pot.
And Hav's says he's going to bet the pot. He's going to bet 200 here. Jesus has got the straight now, a 7-high straight.
And Hav has trapped him.
And Jesus is going to raise it up 500 more. And now what is Hav going to do?
Now that's the problem with sometimes raising on the river without the nuts.
Yep.
You open yourself up to this.
So 500 more here to Hav.
You have to have respect for me one time.
Dave, the pot now. It was 400 when Hav bet. And look at this. Hav just says, I just call. He just called.
Wow.
He just called.
This guy plays King 5.
Wow.
He plays all kinds of things.
And Hav is saying that this guy plays King 5. He plays all kinds of things. 7-5. So
I got to be honest. I don't mind that play as much. When Jesus shows strength and raises me on the river, there are hands he could have there. He could have pocket 7s. I lose the pocket 7s. I lose the King 5. And like he said, he goes, what could he be raising me with?
right. So he makes the call, and Diablo's actually chastising Hav. He said that was an all-in hand.
Well, it definitely is. I mean, but I don't want to harp on it the same way. I don't mind Jesus' raise there.
Right.
But you do open yourself up when you raise with that. You know, when you raise without the nuts, you open yourself up to a re-raise.
Right. And because we know it's Jesus and what they had, if Hav had moved all in, I think Jesus would have called.
Definitely, but it's really easy from our perspective, you know?
Yeah. Now, we have Jesus here at 7,500, but I think he lost a bit there on that hand. I think he's down to, geez, I want to say maybe 5,000. And did Lath do a rebuy? Yeah, Lath must have rebought there for
Yes.
5,000. He lost. He went broke earlier. Diablo's down a little bit there. And George, he's got 2,500.
I don't know.
I mean, is his stack going down? Because I could have sworn we had him at 7,000 in the beginning of the show.
Twice actually so far today. One time we were chopping, the other time we took it away on a
5,600.
Well, he lost that big pot to Jesus there, you know, with the ace-jack.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He lost about $1,500 in that pot.
Yeah.
Oh, 62. No, you 6 puppies. I'm going to come on after you guys.
We got a raise here by Diablo.
Once again, diamonds present.
This is better than
I'll bet you $1 2 black cards come out.
And actually, I think it was Jesus that may have raised here pre-flop.
Ah,
Queen, Queen 5.
should have taken it beyond bet.
Yes, and it is. Jesus was the pre-flop raiser. You know, Mike is in seat 6. We have it as Mark right now. So, Corporation Mike, he picks up an open-ended straight draw here on the turn.
All right, that obviously is not Mark. Clearly a Mike.
He gets checked around again. The river is an ace.
Jesus' hand is good.
King high, huh?
And this is going to go check down, I think. No. I think maybe Mike's going to take a shot at it.
Yeah, he's going to bet.
And Mike will do that. That's why sometimes people call him down with a pair of 5s or something.
He bets $180 here.
He kind of looks at it and goes, well, there's dead money in the pot. I'll take it.
And he shows the bluff. Shows the bluff.
Hey, I think we should start doing more proposition betting.
Right.
We're on the internet. I think
We're also prop players, so there you go.
I'll start betting you $1. Let's see. If the flop is all red, you owe me $1. Flop's all black, I owe you $1.
Well, I hear they do that on Party Poker now.
Do they?
Side bets, yeah.
Really? Wow.
I don't think they really give the proper odds.
And are you betting against the casino, actually? Or is it against other players?
Well, you're betting against the casino.
Oh, man, I'm sure they're not giving you proper
Right.
odds.
And pot looks like it's going to get limped around here. Actions on Diablo on the button. He raises. Been raising in position here, Dave, a lot tonight. Makes it 80 to go. He's got King 10 offsuit.
Hey, why not get more money in the pot when you have an above-average hand and you have position?
Mike calls. So heads up here, King 10 against Pocket 3 is about $170 pot.
Yeah, now you got all that dead money in there, too. 3 or 4 limpers.
Jack 10-6. See if Diablo bets here. He's got second pair, heads up.
Yeah, you and him.
And he's going to bet.
Betting 150.
He bets 150. Now, Mike is the crafty player that actually might check raise this flop with Pocket 3s. We've seen him do it before.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah. Looks like he's just going to call.
I mean, it's the only real problem in Mike's game is I think he just tries to make too many plays.
Mike checks blind here, and 9 comes on the turn. The pot is now about $470.
Betting 175.
And Diablo's going to bet 175 here. So, 650, 175 to call.
I mean, there's sometimes you just got to look at it and go,
Mike
okay,
gets away from it.
I'm not going to win a hand. Let me get rid of this one.
And actually, Diablo shows him the 10.
Thank you.
Pero se necesitan huevos para pagarle al diablo. Si te llevara, dijo aquel, si te bajara la luna.
Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Zarkman here with Bart Hansen. We're watching No Limit Hold'em. Lines are 5 and 10.
La canción dice que sí, ¿verdad?
And we are live at the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens, about 10 miles south of Los Angeles. If you have any questions for us, please email us at live@thebike.com.
And this is not a restricted buy-in game, Dave. This is an unrestricted buy-in game. $500 min. You can buy in for, I think we had Greg Raymer buy in this game back in March for like $40,000. Pot is limped around here.
7 player.
7-way action. 7-5-4. Look at all those hands. Who's got the best one, Arturo? 10-7?
Diablo 80.
Betting 80.
And Diablo says Diablo 80. And he bets 80.
You know, in position with second pair, why not throw a little money in the pot? See what happens.
Arturo calls. I don't necessarily think if I've seen Arturo raise one time to a bet tonight.
Heads up.
He's a perfect candidate to like throw a nice little blocker bet in.
$220 pot now. Turns to 6. One card straight to the board now, our 4-liner. And Arturo's going to bet.
100.
He bets 100.
Betting 100.
That's confidence.
And look at this. Diablo makes the call.
I mean, is he setting up
Wow.
a play here, you think?
Well, the pot's, I want to say it's approaching $500 now.
Well, he's got to put in a big chunk on the river.
And the river's an ace.
Wow, he checks it.
And it goes check, check.
And I like the check there by
Arturo,
I
yeah.
like the check by Arturo.
Diablo shows the deuce. There you go.
How do you know, man, so much, Alan?
I mean, really odd. What are they calling the deuce 5 of hearts for?
You know, my dude is, hey.
Thank you.
I mean, I think sometimes you got to slip into sometimes like this feeling that, well, I'm not going to get bluffed out of a pot, but they've got to think back to the previous street where I bet and the guy called.
Yeah.
So what did he call with? So
Exactly.
exactly. When you say, is he going to make a move, you almost have to make a raise there with deuce 5. You can't just call because your
Or,
hand's
yeah.
no good.
Or muck.
Right.
Sex dudes, you have better than me.
Most good players, actually, I can actually say all good players get bluffed out of pots. All good players lay down winning hands. It happens. If you never lay down the winning hands, you can't possibly be a winning poker player, I don't think.
We got 4-way action here. Ace, queen, deuce, all clubs. Mike is the only one with a club in his hand.
Well, he's got a monster flush draw there. How does he check the 3 of clubs?
Everybody checks.
Well, now he's got a pair with his 3 of clubs.
And he bets with the 3 of clubs there. Makes a flush.
Well, you know, one of the reasons you bet that is the same reason George bet it before, is it's hard to call unless you have, say, the king of clubs, the 10 of clubs, or maybe the 9 of clubs.
Right.
Somebody might even lay down the 6 of clubs, the 7 of clubs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
to get a bumper sticker for Diablo. Like I'd rather be plumbing.
Tommy, when are me and you gonna dance, man? Chop it up. That was a lot of money in the pot too, huh?
Ace Jack of clubs here for Tommy in seat 9, and Ace Queen there for Lath.
Now Lath is going to raise it up in first position, and and Tommy calls.
$80 raise and a call. Well, he's got Ace Jack suited.
No, without a doubt, and these are in early position. Ace Queen is a real tough to hand to play in early position.
Arturo makes a call with a suited connector, 6-4 diamonds. Now Greek George is on there with, or the Greek Poker God got 3-4 offsuit. He doesn't call. But Corporation Mike's got pocket 4s.
4-player.
And he makes the call.
So we got 4-handed.
$320 pot, 80 times 4. Wow, and the flop comes 8, 10, 10, couple clubs. So Tommy's got overcards and the nut flush draw.
Yeah, and Arturo's got the gut shot straight draw.
It gets checked to Tommy, and he bets.
Yeah, he's not going to check raise this time.
He bets 300. Well, the pre-flop raiser check to him. He's going to bet. Mike's got pocket 4s. He actually has the best hand right now.
That's what he's thinking. He's thinking, does this guy have a draw?
He lets
But it's
it go.
Tommy. Tommy gets
uses-
the respect of the whole table.
Yeah, Tommy uses his image once again.
And one thing we always say about No Limit Hold'em is you don't have to win a lot of pots to be a winner. Tommy is maybe going to play, I would guess, maybe 6 or 7 hands in the entire 3-hour webcast. But he's up, and he's up pretty good. Tommy will never be the big winner at the table.
But you know what? I don't think he cares.
He doesn't care at all. He's not there to he's not there to win a prize.
Right.
He's there to make a living.
Next time I'm gonna have
And that is the daily grind of a professional poker player.
unbelievable. This is like the greatest play I've ever seen.
Motive?
It was
And we got another ace queen there.
Work yesterday?
Pocket 8s for Diablo, seat 1.
Well,
Come on.
you, okay, I see it
Raise
working on
80
you,
total?
but
It was unbelievable.
Got an $80 raise there, I believe, by Diablo.
last night, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he won.
shootout?
No, I don't know.
Monaco pocket.
And we got a call by Arturo, Jack 6 of hearts. Corporation Mike calls with Jack 9.
Okay, hold on.
Jimmy's got ace queen offsuit in the small blind. He calls.
I'll raise like 110 pre-flop.
Pocket 10.
Ed calls, I call on the button.
And here we go, 80 times 4, 320. I knew I'd use that arithmetic that I learned in elementary school somewhere.
That was really impressive. How quick he did. Well, look at that, Jack. 10-6.
Yeah, Arturo's got top and bottom, all diamonds on board. Diablo's got the 8 of diamonds. It got checked to Arturo, and he bets 200.
Now, that's a good bet. You got to bet. You can't give a free card there.
A little bit of a small bet, though, into a 340 pot. What do you think?
I know you're good on reading.
Mike's got Jack 9.
And Mike's smooth calls that.
Wow.
Without a diamond in his hand.
And Diablo's out of there.
Well, I mean, how does he know his 8 of diamonds is even good if it hits?
Pot's now about 750, heads up. Turn is a 9, and look at that. Mike makes 2 pair. Arturo bets 500.
But you know what, though? The 9 completes, if the guy didn't have diamonds ready, the 9 does complete the king-queen straight.
I don't know if Mike's going to think about that, though.
Mike's not, I mean,
And Mike actually raises.
Okay.
And Arturo moves all in for a little bit less. And, Dave, we've got like almost a $2,000 pot here, the Rivers of 5. And Mike takes it down there, spikes 2 pair on the turn,
Wow.
and takes it down.
I was about to say, Mike's not stupid. He is cagey and he's aggressive, but look at that. Mike takes down $2,000.
And-
Mike, it was nothing.
And Arturo goes broke again. Wow.
And I was trying to say before, Arturo was fighting to get back in this game, and I was going to say, for Arturo's sake, it might be best if we keep him out.
Checks the flop. Ed,
He said he's coming back, too. He's going to reload.
He's been trying to get in the game. Can't wait to give his money away. Got an interesting email from William Frick. He agrees with me. He thinks Jesus is an American hero, and he's actually made him what did he say, Alabama highway hero?
Oh.
Wow. Well, thank you for the email, Bill or William.
Ed checks.
Appreciate it.
I don't know what the river was. It was blank. He checked. Ed got
So we got another chip count. So Lath, who's actually down for the night, of course, he rebought, I believe, for 5,000. It's up to 5,200. Jesus is back down to 4,800, but still up, almost 5,000 for the night, Dave. And
So you mark out a turn before Ed?
I still think he's the big winner. And again, we harp that I think George, George is the big mystery tonight. I don't know if he's down or up, but
All that stuff out
I said the chances of that.
we have him starting at 7 about 15 minutes before the show started, Dave. So he must have lost a big pot before the show started, and
So we made a good
kind of
play
has
and you
gone
guys
down
another
since
one.
then.
Yeah, that first chip count was about 10 minutes old, and
Yeah.
we must have lost some of those chips
The winning
during
hand.
that period that we didn't see, obviously.
And where's the...
Queen 8-5 here on the flop. It was limped around.
I can't believe he made it. It was unbelievable.
Raise it up.
George bet here.
And you guys are calling? You guys
He
must
bet
be strong.
80.
No, that's what I'm saying. We had to be strong. And then I just called on the button, thinking, and Mo has to think I want him to call.
And
It was unbelievable.
he's going to take it down.
You know what? He's done a lot of those plays.
There's spades out there, and there's 2 overcards. And he goes all in on 5 cards.
Mo's
I
done
don't
a
know
lot
if
of
it was
those
just
plays.
crazy or it was...
Nice bet
And-
there by George. Kicks down.
Well, he had the best hand, I think.
Mo's done a lot of plays like that lately. He knows that's the only way he can win, either works or not.
I haven't seen him make a lot of plays like
I seen him,
Diablo, I don't. I think he's like hovering right around even
he had a
tonight,
play in,
Dave.
Jesus.
He had a lot of chips. I want to even speculate that Diablo probably won a big hand from George. Early
Might have,
on.
yeah.
I mean, that would be the only way that would explain that. Well, actually, we're getting word that he's down about 2,000.
Well, he's
tonight.
played almost every hand.
Yeah.
And you remember, he did a lot of bluffing early on.
Chewy? And he won?
And the pot is now limped around. And again, I want to comment on some exciting graphical news that we may have at Live at the Bike coming up
Wow.
after this hand.
Well, Diablo is flop top pair here.
Yes, he's got Queen 9.
At 80?
And
He bets 80,
But when I make it 280, you know you're in trouble.
80 is better than 69.
and he's going to take it down.
Good night, Mike.
Well, word is at some point in the near future, I can't tell you exactly when, that we will have the capability of putting up in the chip count plus and minuses, differences in each chip count.
Wow.
Red negatives and green positives.
well, that would be really, really helpful. Red negative and green positive. Why
Yeah.
green positive? Why not black?
like a green light.
In the black, in the red.
I'm playing a tournament. Get heads up with Jerry Bosch and say, listen,
Put me up, take the chip.
you can take first place.
Button here is in seat 9.
He's going to tell you first.
Ace Jack here for Diablo. Picking up some hands.
I'm getting word that our producer's upset that you just released that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
We had a big press release for that. Okay. That's it. You're fired.
Diablo's going to raise it up. He's going to make it 80 to go. Ace Jack. Again, Hav has just played super tight. Hav is a big winner tonight.
He's won a lot of money.
And we have got, looks like 3-way action.
Okay, look, you know, I don't like to play footsies with the
Hav's up about 2,000. Jack 9-7. Diablo's hit the Ace Jack. Lath has got a flush draw.
Yeah, oftentimes the big winner of the night doesn't necessarily play that many hands. Just kind of gets in there for 1 or 2 hands, wins some money, and gets out.
Diablo bet 200. Mike has middle pair here, and Lath has got a flush draw and a straight draw. Is he going to check raise? Or is he? Oh, actually, he's in position. And he does raise.
Raise 500.
He makes it 500 more. Diablo's got Ace Jack here. The
Now,
pot,
he has the jack of clubs also.
Dave, the pot's about 1,100. It's 500 for Diablo to call.
Now, to me, this is one of those cases, if you're Diablo, instead of calling, do you re-raise him? If you think your hand is the best, why not raise it up?
Well, if he calls, Mike can't overcall, can he? And he makes the call. 1,600 in the pot.
I've stopped trying to figure out Mike a long time ago.
Mike's out of there. And we're heads up. Diablo still has the best hand there.
Now, Diablo's got to act first now. What does he do when a queen falls? Oh,
And there
wow.
we go. It's a queen, and Lath has picked up top pair with those huge draw. And he bets 2,000, it looks like. A little over the size of the pot.
Wow.
Actually, it's about 1,800 to be specific. $3,500 pot, $1,800 for Diablo to call.
Well, that was one of his outs. We said, you know, any 10, any queen, or any club.
And Diablo's out of there.
You kind of wonder. Lath kind of played it like he had 10-8, like he already had a made hand.
Man, he's a draw. It's a good thing that there's not another club, otherwise he'll get me.
I had to beat on the flop. I had 8-9.
I'm throwing dead.
And, you know, of course, to reference the 2+2 thread, Dave, you know, we are new to the 2+2 website, and you and I have been wondering, how did we get our nicknames? Do you nickname somebody else? Because someone has called you Bart Jr., which you're not a big fan of, and someone's nicknamed me Stop Bet Aficionado.
Which I think you like. I think you do. I think you kind of like that, don't you?
I am really not a huge proponent of making stop bets against tough players that are going to raise you when they know what's going to happen.
Right.
You know. But if you've got a guy who's kind of a calling station.
All right. If you check to him, he's going to bet. But if you
Right.
bet a small amount, he's going to call you. Hey, why not?
We got a straddle here by Corporation Mike.
$80 pot.
Yeah, 20 times 4. 997.
Not surprisingly, everybody's missed. More often than not, when you get a pair on the board like that, a pair on the flop, everybody misses.
Otherwise you would have called.
Turns a 5. It gives Hav a flush draw now. He does not bet.
Well, this is whoever bets is going to take this one down. And not surprisingly, let's see if Mike takes a shot at it.
Well, the river's a 3.
Okay.
His king high is still the best hand.
And maybe that's why he's not betting, because he thinks he actually might win this one in a showdown.
Yeah, well, I can almost guarantee you, if he had 6 high, he probably bets it. If he has George's hand, he probably bets.
I was open-ended on the ocean.
Don't drink 6 beers at one time.
I love those commercials. At first, I wasn't a fan of them, but they grew on me. I like the one with the sunscreen one the best, where he smacks them.
Now, I'm looking at this one thing that Jive is saying. He's talking about Barry Goldstein. Who exactly is Barry Goldstein?
You're going to double me up?
Yeah, I think the thread says, I thought maybe that Barry Goldstein said that blocker bets would put an... Or Barry Goldstein said about blocker bets would put an end to it.
Who the heck is Barry
I
Goldstein?
don't know.
Double me up, Asians. I'll give you
Oh, Barry Goldstein, my rabbi. Now, we have a wonderful love-hate relationship with Jive. Do appreciate all his input.
You raise my straddle.
Get a raise out of seat 4 there. All right?
I think it
No,
was
Diablo,
Diablo
sorry.
brought it open with
Sevens.
pocket 7s. Now, someone's got ace-jack here.
That was George, and
And he mucked it.
it.
Yeah. But Mike, he's going to call. We can't see what he has yet. Queen 6 offsuit. Here we go. Jack 6-9. Mike's picked a pair up.
Now, George would have had top pair here with top kicker.
Mike bets 175 immediately.
Well, that's how he's going to play it.
Old school.
Well, Diablo's facing 2 overcards here.
And to give Mike credit, if Mike had flopped Jack 9 and flopped 2 pair, he'd probably still bet it.
So sick.
And Diablo calls.
You know what he called me with? Pocket 7.
Pot's now about $500.
Okay, Alan.
Turn is an 8. And I think Mike just called El Diablo's hand out.
And he said, I think he called me pocket 7s.
Yeah. And he's right. And he checks, and now Diablo's going to bet.
See that open 7?
Well, Mike's in real bad shape here because
Yeah.
Diablo's picked up a straight draw and a flush draw.
He bets 200 into a $500 pot.
Am I right? Pocket 7? Pocket 7. Pocket 7.
Well, Mike calls his hand.
Yeah.
That's spooky.
Hey, what book do I have to read?
What did I tell you? What did I
think-
tell you? Hey, what did I
You'd
tell
think
you?
if Mike was that
Hanging
good at
around,
reading players' hands, you'd think he'd be
too
more
much,
successful at the poker table.
You will read me 100%.
Wow.
You know what I had? I had Queen 6.
He's not lying.
Hey,
Yeah.
because that's the way to do it, man.
And again, the eternal question, does Mike have to bake his head every morning? It's a lot of work. Don't you think?
Yeah, Mike.
I think he has women do it for him.
Mike has got all the brains, no hair, but brains. I'm like,
You said you need hair, man. Bald men are sexy.
yeah.
And Jesus is back. He had taken a little short break.
Somebody open the dark.
And he's got, looks like ace jack of diamonds in the small blind. George limps in here, and Jesus is going to raise, it looks like.
Big boy.
Raise, make it 80.
What is it?
80.
Makes
You
it
got my
80 to
80
go.
now?
Diablo limped in with jack 6 offsuit.
Wow, I can't believe you call a pocket 7.
What, you raise?
Yeah, I bet the flop.
Oh, you did, huh?
And is that comment going to make Diablo call this one?
I think the funny thing is, Mike actually goes, I can't believe you called with pocket 7s. You want somebody to go, it's you betting, Mike.
right.
I show you the settings, okay? So you said 100% before that.
80%, Mike.
Okay,
And
Alan?
Jesus looks like he's going to take it down there.
Keep calling me Alan the other. Alan.
Oh, Alan is a good man.
That guy with
Look at this. We got an email here from Abraham
He's got the same haircut underneath.
Faramand. He says, your program is very interesting. Why don't you broadcast on the weekend, too? Well, Abraham, it's nice to know that we have a new viewer to the show. Because we used to broadcast on the weekends, on Saturday nights, but we changed the schedule around to Monday through Friday.
Raise, make it 80.
Yeah, we used to be through Wednesday through Saturday, obviously, but now Monday through Friday. And we do have a huge Live at the Bike staff.
Right. Very big.
And because our staff is so big,
Bluff at least 5 times.
we actually want weekends off once in a while,
He says that.
We got a raise here
believe it or not.
by Hob. Again, he hasn't played a hand in hours. He's got ace, king, and diamonds. And Jesus makes the call with queen 8 offsuit on the button.
Once again, Queen 8 offsuit.
And Diablo's in there with
Not
10,
one, but 2 flush draws.
10-7 offsuit.
You guys already got El Diablo
And the raise was 80,
tonight.
so it's 240. Ace, king, deuce. Hob has picked up top 2 pair.
Check.
And Hob checks it, I think, Dave.
You know the Roca?
He checks it.
Yeah.
Turns the king. Now he's filled up.
Yeah, the flop was actually Ace King Deuce.
No, jackpot.
Right, ace, king, deuce. And now the turn's a king. So it's king, deuce, ace, king. He checks again. And the river is a 9.
Now, if Corporation Mike were in the hand, he'd probably try to steal it, but
Well, now Hob's going to bet.
he was trying to let somebody get something.
Yeah. But no one's going to play there. Well, again, I wonder, like, loose players like Corporation Mike, Diablo, and Jesus.
You can look at both.
You know, I really don't have a big problem with their style. I mean, sometimes they'll tend to call with hands they shouldn't, but do they adjust to the players? Well, you know, Jesus shouldn't be calling a raise as a queen 8 when Hob comes in to raise.
Right.
You know?
We've seen earlier, though, Jesus did when George raised on a turn with a set of 6s, we saw Jesus throw away top pair with a jack kicker. I mean, he had king jack and the flop's king high, and he throws it away.
Yep.
So
Rolling into about the last half an hour part of the show.
I wanna get, I gotta go get my
the Greek demigod has picked up 2 black 8s.
getting over a cold, man. After the night I drank so much, the next day I got
I hope that name doesn't stick, Dave. He doesn't,
No,
yeah,
it won't. It
yeah.
won't stick. It's definitely a Greek poker god, but he's got to play more like a god if he's going to be called back.
Right.
I had to drink a lot of
And Mike has raised here. He made it 80 to go. He's got 4-5 of diamonds, I believe.
Yeah, he's in really bad shape there. Look at 4 or 5 diamonds, and Hobbs got the higher diamonds.
Diablo's got queen 8 offsuit. He mucks.
I got the Rocas behind me.
Hob might take one off here. He's going to come in.
Mike's one of those dangerous players. I mean, he just doesn't care about money.
85, Mike?
Those players that don't care about money, they're tough to play against sometimes.
George makes the call with pocket 8s, and Jesus is in there with ace deuce. So 85 times 4, that's 360. Like a circle.
God, you're quick.
Here we go to the flop. Queen 5-4.
Wow, what a flop from Mike.
Unbelievable.
How do you
Bottom
do that?
2 pair.
You raise with a garbage hand like 5-4 and you flop 2 pair?
And he bets.
300.
He bets 300. Little under the size of the pot. No one has top pair here, Dave.
No, he's not going to get in the action, I don't think.
5,
Hit my card, and I don't know.
5200, maybe.
And the action's over to Hob.
And Mike doesn't slow play. I mean, rarely does he slow play. We saw him one time when he had jack of clubs. He had the nut flush, but
You know,
Hob lays it down. Now,
generally-
what about George? One overcard to pocket 8s here.
and it's Mike.
Yeah, and it's Mike. Might you have put a bet out here on the flop beforehand? Well, he's just going to check
Well,
fold.
if you're going to check to him and he's going to bet it, well, you're
Yeah.
almost giving the pot up.
And Mike shows one card.
I mean, Mike
It's
is
a
the type
4.
of player where if I have pocket eights and he puts an $80 raise in, and I get a caller, another caller, I might re-raise it to 400 with pocket eights
10 minutes of one?
I'll tell you, do either one of you guys.
to isolate him.
You got a queen?
I don't know, you gotta watch the tape.
Well, Bugman68 on 2+2 says, instead of the wins and losses being displayed, why not put Poker Tracker or Poker Ace on the game and display the stats? Well, why can't I fly to Mars? That would be very, very useful. Unfortunately, we do have limited resources here. I mean, our huge staff and all.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we just hired like 11 new people, didn't we?
Right. But thank you for the thoughts anyways.
We are always open to new technological innovations.
Right. And Mike has raised it up here to
95.
95. He's got Ace Jack. George has limped in with Ace Deuce, and Mike's going to take it down.
What's that?
Actually, in reality, those Poker Tracker and Poker Ace, which is basically a heads-up display when you're playing
I wouldn't put you on it, I'll tell you.
party or any type of internet poker.
Yeah, that's what I just moved.
I don't know if that could actually be done. If like you could actually have hand histories. I don't know if our software like creates hand histories.
Well, it might get a little busy on the screen if you have 9 players hand history, you know?
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then heads-up display.
yeah, I mean,
That would be really interesting. It'd be like popping yourself right into a computer game.
yeah, I mean, obviously this is for educational, but also for entertainment purposes. But we'll definitely, we do appreciate any of your ideas, and once in a while we try 'em. Yeah, cash donations as well. If you want to give away money, feel free to send it into Dave and Bart at the Bicycle Casino. We're in Bell Gardens.
At the beautiful Bell Gardens.
Right, right.
Pot is limped around here. 4-way action. Ace, Deuce, 4. Looks like Jesus has got Ace 3. And he's going to bet.
That's 60.
$100 he bets.
He bets a bill.
Well, he bet 60 actually. He tossed a $100 chip in there, but said only 60.
Okay.
And Jimmy calls.
Jimmy calls with 4-5. Getting word that Arturo is back. So heads up, Ace 3 against 4-5. The turn is a jack.
Jimmy's a very passive player, isn't he? Kind of just calls.
Jesus bets again here.
And now Jimmy's probably going to fold.
50.
Bets 150.
Or maybe not. Maybe he'll call.
Wow, he's going to make the call again. And here we go to the river. The river's an 8. And how much can Jesus? Is he just going to check it down? He bets 100. And he gets a call from Jimmy. And Jesus just took down about $500 or $600 of Jimmy's money there in that hand.
And that just proves my point earlier when Diablo had queens against Jimmy and Jimmy had a pair of 7s. Diablo clearly could have bet something on the river and taken it.
I mean, it's funny, and you read the threads, and people talk about how sometimes they think a lot of the players are so bad in this game. Well, sometimes it's not just the crazy aggressive ones that you're like, well, what are you doing? It sometimes can be the opposite if you're so tight passive.
Oh, well,
It's incredible. I mean, we saw Dr. BB's play last night, and somebody commented on one of the internet threads about how BB had actually changed his game up when he got more comfortable when we first started doing the show, and then he just looked like a scared little girl last night. I mean, not to be like personal on the guy, but I mean, he had pocket
Or
queens. Yeah. But I mean, that's what he was playing like.
Right. No, it looked like it.
I mean, he looked like he was playing scared, and I'm sure you would agree.
Well, it's like, you know, when I scold my dog, and my dog, she puts her tail between her legs and cowers.
Right.
That's Dr. BB.
Not always, though.
Well, I mean, I heard about the hand last night. He has pocket queens. The flop comes out Jack, Jack 4, and he folds to 1 bet. I mean, what are you doing?
Jesus bet here with a flush draw. Ran a straight draw.
Well, we've said it time and time again. Bart, we've said it time and time again. Arturo's back, by the way, with $1,000.
And a double gutter.
Time and time again, we've said that I personally would rather give my money to Jesus or Corporation Mike. I give him $1,000 and go, I'd rather give him $1,000 than Dr. BB or say Jimmy.
Right.
You know, at least I know I've got a fighting chance with these guys. You know, at least I know they're not going to call their money off.
Getting word that Barry Goldstein is Barry Greenstein's poker coach and personal trainer.
Oh! Jeez. Wow. That's interesting. I think they meet at Passover dinner last year.
Now, Mike has got he's straddled here, and with any type of hand, he likes to raise out of the straddle spot, and he does. Couple limpers. He's got king 10 of diamonds. Makes it 125 to go. And he's going to pick up those limps. Do we have a seat open in this game in seat 7?
Well, Jimmy just lost his hand. I'm not sure if maybe Jimmy's just gotten up and taking a break.
Seems like a couple people are walking right now. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Only seat 1 is missing.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. We talked about, and then we're going to look at another chip count. So Jesus has increased his stack back up to 5,600, and George has gone down a little bit. And Diablo, he must have. Did he rebuy? He didn't rebuy, but we're getting word he's down probably, what, 3 or 4 grand from the beginning of the night? Wow. And, Dave, we've got pocket kings and pocket jacks here. Seat 8 is going to raise here with pocket kings.
Now, these are two pretty straightforward players here. This is Lath with kings and Tommy with jacks.
And it's 45, and George calls with 10-4 diamonds. It's only a $45 raise, and we're going to get...
Wow, and I figured there'd be a bet and a re-raise, but
2, 3, 4,
Tommy
5
didn't want to
action.
commit himself, and he just called with jacks.
225, and he flops a set of jacks.
Wow.
A set of jacks.
I'm telling you right now, Lath is going broke on this hand.
$225 pot. And let's see how much Lath bets.
And this will be Tommy's
But
third pot
Lath
of the
is
night.
deep, though. He's got 5,000. He
gonna-
rebought for
he's gonna-
5,000.
He's going to double up Tommy in this hand.
You think so? He's going to commit all his chips with the
I do.
overpair?
Because Tommy's not stupid. He's not going to slow play this. I guarantee you Tommy raises this right here.
It's
He's
a
a professional poker player. He's not dumb.
$250 bet here.
No.
He calls.
Wow.
He makes the call.
I'm shocked that he didn't throw in a raise there. I'm really shocked.
Wow. And Dave, the pot now is about $750.
Now, he does have position on Lath, and that's one of the reasons he probably smooth called.
Well, here we go.
Unless an ace falls.
Turns a 6. And
That's
now,
not scary.
Yep, fills Lath up. And look at this. Lath actually... Let's see what he does here. I thought he checked there for a second. He bets. He
Now
bets
it's heads up.
700.
And I imagine Tommy's going to make some sort of a move here.
The pot now is about, I want to say, 1,500. Right around, a little under 1,500. 700 for Tommy to call. And is he just going to call one more time? He just calls again, Dave.
Well, this is heads up here, and Lath, he has position
And
on
look
Lath.
at Lath's face now. $2,200 pot. A queen comes on the river. But even if the guy has queen jack, your kings win against queen jack right
Yes.
now. $2,200 pot. And Lath bets again.
1100.
He bets 1,100. Now, are you scared of queens if you're Tommy now? Could possibly queens have come?
What, you're basically the second nut here.
He just makes the call there, Dave. He just called. He did not raise. He never raised. He let Lath do all the betting, and you got to think that Tommy was scared of the queen on the river. And look at Lath's face. He never raised once in the entire hand.
Hold on a second. No, he's counting out chips here. No, he's counting out chips. I think he moved all in.
It's all in. He lose. He wins.
Well,
And once again,
Sometimes
folks,
that
we are,
happens.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
live here, so we don't always
Yeah.
get it. He moved all in on the river. I was going to
Okay.
say, I was about to say, I can't believe Tommy just did this. I know Tommy pretty well, and he is a well-respected pro, and if he just called that on the river,
yeah.
I would have thought he's a donkey. But there's no way he does
Well, it
that.
was only 860 more there. So it was 1,100 plus 860 more.
Yeah. Well, he's figured let Lath bet off his chips,
Okay.
and then on the river, I'm going to raise them all in, and he did.
And Dave, that was a big pot. You know?
And like I said, I told you, there's no way Lath is
Yeah.
definitely going to double Tommy up with his hands.
Yeah.
Now, Tommy took a chance there. Had an ace fallen on the turn or the river, it would have been an action killer.
Right. Well, I could have sworn he just put out the chips. Like, there was no indication that anyone said all in.
Yeah, no. And we tried to tell the players to actually push their chips in.
Yeah.
But, in the heat of the moment, sometimes they just verbally, he tossed in a couple of chips.
And the guy's right next to the other guy, so he could say all in, and then someone could say call under their breath. And,
Exactly. It was a simple. Tom, like I said, Tommy's not really. He's not here for the fame.
Right.
He's here to make money. And I got to tell you, I really have a lot of respect for Tommy's play there. But I would have liked to see a raise on a turn. Because if an ace comes out, it is an action killer. And the same thing's going to happen. I don't think Leith gets away from queens. I just don't think he does.
Yeah.
Not with a Jack 9-6 flop.
Well, he never showed any strength until the river.
Well, Tommy calling $800 bet. You always say calling is as good as a raise. Well, Tommy calling with an $800 bet, that screams strength. Actually, I'd be more scared of Tommy calling an $800 bet than raising an $800. No.
5-way action. King, Jack, 4. Couple spades. And it's almost like more likely that Tommy would have raised with ace, jack as well on the flop. So
something to protect. He
Yeah.
had nothing to protect. He had what he looked like is the nuts, especially when a 6 turns.
Right.
But like you and I always say, is it's not necessarily protecting your hand, but you just don't want an action killer to come out.
Right.
What happens if Leith had queens there? And forget about the queen on the river, but let's say a king or an ace comes out. There are a lot of cards that could kill your action.
Now, Jesus has bet here, and George calls with queen 9.
Well, that you call that a bet?
Turn is a queen. Now George hits a pair.
Check.
And he checks. And Jesus checks right behind him. And the river's a king.
Check.
George checks again here.
You Mike are in the
Check or you call
in the hand. We get him out, huh, Mike?
And Jesus just gives up.
Queen.
Yeah. Now I don't want to harp on it with Tommy, obviously, because obviously we're privy to the information that the guy had kings.
Right.
I think if Tommy knows he has kings, he obviously is going to come over the top on him.
Just smooth called the flop, smooth called the turn, and then pretty much
Well,
raised them all in. And at that point, Dave, it was only $800 more. It was an $1,100 bet on the river, and the pot was like, at that point, $4,000.
Oh, yeah.
At least. So
I don't think Leith's going to go anywhere for $800
Right.
more.
I got 24 behind.
It's just one of those things where if the guy is betting ace king only, you don't want to stop him from bluffing. But at the same time, if he does have kings or queens, you're risking that action killer coming off.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. Well, and again, Tommy didn't have that much money, so obviously he's not going anywhere in the river. But if they were deeper and he played it that way, would you ever get away from a set of jacks like that?
I don't
the guy
think so.
moved all in on the river.
I don't think so. No.
No.
Short of the guy having pocket sixes, he basically had the third nut hand, right?
I'm just saying that maybe the guy, moves all in for $20,000 at the end because he made a set of queens. But anyways, we got a raise here by Jesus with Jack 8. He hits a pair.
He's got the best hand. Let's see if he follows through. He's in position.
And Jimmy has moved all in.
Moved all in with king high, huh? He's got the gut shot.
445 into about a $240 pot.
Well, he's representing an ace, and fortunately for him, Jesus doesn't have an ace.
And look at this. Jesus is going to make the call. Wow. Well, he's got over cards, or he could hit a 10.
Yeah, he's got a lot of outs.
Yeah, with 2 cards to come, he has a lot of outs. Pot is over $1,000. The turn's an ace, no good. And the river is a jack, and Jesus fills up. And there you go.
And Jimmy just gives his money away, huh?
I think he's out of there. And now we're getting word that Tommy's got close to $6,000 in front of him.
Well, and he bought in. He had like 600 in front of him.
Where was he at the last chip count? That we get word on that. He had 2,300 at the last chip count. So he actually won basically doubled through.
And he started with 500.
Wow. So he's up like $5,000 for the night? Incredible.
Well, I mean, he fortunately for him, he went from 500 to 2,300, and then he hit a set of jacks.
Right.
And you notice one thing about his jacks.
Yeah.
He didn't re-raise before the flop.
Yeah.
Leith raised with kings. He smooth called.
dicen la metralleta.
¿Me siguen para dónde?
Got a raise here by
Parking lot.
Arturo?
Arturo. He's back. Ace King clubs. Makes it 50. Big slick suited. George calls with 6-7 offsuit. Ace 10 in there for Jesus.
Oh, everybody's calling.
And Tommy has clubs as well, but lower ones.
Yes.
So here we go. 6-way action times 50. $300 pot. Jack, 8, 9. Couple diamonds.
Bet 100.
And Arturo leads there for 100 into a $300
Yeah, now,
pot.
Tommy's had an open-ended straight draw here, but he doesn't have the diamond. Now, Jesus has a 10 of diamonds in his hand.
Well, Jesus calls with ace 10. And Tommy calls with a pair and a gut shot.
Wow.
So the pot is now $600.
Well, Tommy's up a little. You think maybe he's loosening up a little.
The turn's a deuce. It's a third diamond. And Arturo, can he fire one more time here? I mean, boy, this is scary. $600 pot. Yeah, he's going to check it.
Yeah, he tried to summon up the courage to bet it, and he couldn't.
And Jesus checks as well. And the river is a diamond, and Jesus has the best hand now.
How does he do that time and time again?
Tommy checks from up front. Arturo checks. Is there any reason to put a bet in here with a 10 of diamonds? I mean, wouldn't you
let's see,
just check it down?
Can you get a queen, a king, or an ace out? Probably not. But might you get a call from a 7 or a 9?
I think he just bet 100 there at the end. Look at that. Tommy doesn't even pay him off at the 8. It's a $100 bet at the end. But he does get I think he gets Arturo to call him with ace king, Dave. That's amazing. Tommy lays down the 8, but Arturo puts in the extra $100 with ace king, a black ace king.
I mean, sometimes when I look at ace king of clubs, sometimes it looks like a diamond to me. You know?
Right.
Maybe that was it.
Let's see the kicker. Okay. Let's see the kicker.
Wow.
You know, once in a while you can bet a mid diamond like that if you think you might get a call by a 6 or a 7 of diamonds.
Right.
You know, and you want to keep people honest like that. Because if you only bet it when you either have the nuts or you're bluffing, well, then somebody might not believe you later on. So you can set up a bluff. But once again, you got to be careful though. When you bet, you open yourself up to a big check raise.
Right, a check raise that you can't call with that 10
Well, yeah,
of
I mean,
diamonds.
well, if Tommy comes over the top here, like the same play that Jesus did about an hour and a half ago, Tommy comes over the top for $4,000. What does Jesus do then with his 10 of diamonds?
Look at your hand.
Oh my.
Dave, we got a new player coming into the game.
We got Nacho coming in.
Nacho? Wow.
Nacho. There he is, Nacho. I'll have that with some cheese and some jalapenos.
Ace Jack 4 here, a couple diamonds on the flop. Pot was limped around here. Getting word that he is another Mexican poker player, Dave. So
Wow.
there you go. So more action.
Check. Check.
It gets checked. And Jesus here, he's got King 4. We don't have it up here. He's going to bet. And Arturo looks to have the best hand right now with Jack 7. And he's bet 80 here.
10, 20, 30, 40.
Diablo's got a pair of deuces. He mucks.
I don't think anybody can call this, can they?
Not eating the pot.
Well, Arturo's made some creative calls. He's got the second pair with the 7 and diamond draw. And he makes the call.
I like creative calls.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it.
Jesus has got the king of diamonds with the 4. Pot's about $200 now.
King.
Oh, river's a queen. Seat 2 checks, but Jesus is going to bet. And it's real difficult for Jack 7 to call now. Well, he bets 200.
Well, he just called it ace king high.
That's the kicker.
And he's going to show king of diamonds. He bets 200 and he shows one card, which he's done before, Dave. And every time he's done it, he's had the best hand, and Arturo mucks. Jesus gets him off the best hand.
I tell you, Jesus is playing these guys like a fiddle. He's just getting better and better. And there's Nacho in seat 6. And I want to say Mike has moved to seat 7.
And this guy's bought in for $3,000. I don't think we've seen him on the show before. It's always nice to see a new
He sat
face.
down and he shoved Jesus' phone over. Wow.
Post ramen and
Get line. They like it on the internet. They like to see that.
We're getting some interesting information about Nacho's past, but we've been advised not to tell anybody about it. So we'll let you guys just think about it. Actually, yeah, please email us what you think Nacho is, what he used to do.
How much is that, lady?
And we got a raise here out of Mike. King Queen offsuit. He makes it 50 to go. And Arturo's in there with 10-5 of hearts, Dave. I actually might want to go so far as to say that Arturo might be the guy that could lose the most money at this table, or might be one of really the weaker players. Because some of these guys like Mike are just crazy aggressive. But it seems like Arturo doesn't really know where he's at. You know
Well, he's like, I'll call with anything, I raise
Right.
with nothing.
Right. Ace 8-6 here, couple diamonds. And Mike makes a continuation bet here. And Jesus calls him with an 8, and he has the best hand. It's about a $550 pot now. The turn is a 10. Jesus has 2 pair now, and Mike's got the nut diamond draw. And he takes a card. And the river is a diamond, and both players have a flush. Mike's got the nut flush.
Now, Jesus bet $100 last time he had, like, a mid-flush.
Yes.
What's your kicker?
How big?
And here we go. Mike asks him, do you have a diamond? Jesus is going to bet. And Mike raises.
Yeah, I think Jesus bet 100.
Yep.
And Mike has raised him 3 more.
And
That's-
Jesus has turned his cards face up. You can do that in a cash game to get a read on the player. You can take a look there at Mike over there in seat 7. And he makes the call, Dave. And there's the king of diamonds.
What's your kicker?
And some people at home can look at that and go, God, what a terrible call. How can you call that? But Mike would make that play with nothing.
Right.
I've seen him make that play.
Playing the player, right?
Yeah. Now, there's a little demand on 2+2. They would love to see the percentages up there.
About like hand odds? You mean?
Hand odds and
Well,
stuff. And we'll see. Maybe we can do that in the future. Who knows? Well, I, for one, like the fact that we just toil about it and guess.
Well, I mean, what people really have to... I think what people might, on a serious note, I mean, we know we have fun with this, I don't necessarily know if a lot of people realize that all the poker on television is filmed months and months and months before and goes through a post-production process that probably is 100 times our budget.
Right. If you want to get an
And
idea
it's
of
like-
what Live at the Bike budget is,
Right.
Wayne's World. Think Wayne's World. Okay? There you go.
And actually,
Right.
you know...
Wayne's World. Wayne's World. Game on.
The thing about our show, actually, that is incredibly expensive, and which is mostly the big expense of producing the show, is people don't realize the cost of streaming, and Isaac gets into this discussion with me sometimes, the cost of streaming this much bandwidth to people out there for them to receive this. It's very, very expensive.
$16, $17 a week.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no. Please.
And we got a raise here by seat 5. Ace, queen of diamonds. Oh, excuse me. Jesus raised with 9 deuce. 9 deuce, so he's on tilt. And seat 6 there. Nacho calls with ace, queen of diamonds. So, again, Jesus is the pre-flop raiser? Wow.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Well, this is the first real questionable raise of the night from Jesus, huh?
And the raise amount was, I think, I want to say 80. So it's about a $480 pot, 80 times 4. Ace 10-4 here on the flop.
Well, Nacho's got top pair.
Okay.
And Jesus does not bet.
125.
Nacho bets 125 into a $480 pot. Tommy gets away from his deuces.
Two down.
I don't know if anyone can really call here, Dave. Doesn't look like much.
No. I'd have to agree with you.
No wonder I have no deuces. No wonder I didn't catch my deuce.
And looks like Jesus is showing the deuce.
I have packet deuces, man. Look how I raise, guys.
And he shows what he raised with right there. And Nacho takes it down. You know, one of the other interesting things when we were first starting to do Live at the Bike that was thrown around that actually really hasn't been invented yet was the concept of somehow having automatic cards that go on the screen with either some sort of barcode or some sort of magnetic reader, and putting some sort of chip detectors in the chips to figure out pot size. But that technology really isn't around right now.
I'm working on it. I was actually working on it in my garage, but the recent rain flooded my inventions.
But it would be cool to actually automatically detect the cards if you actually used like a special deck. But like I said, it's not really. I think they could do it with barcodes now, but
I guess
it would just be too cumbersome.
Basically scan the card
exactly.
like you would scan groceries.
Well, supposedly they have that with like some sort of blackjack security processes now, where they actually know what cards are coming out.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Pot is limped around here 8 ways, so it's a $80 pot, and it comes to King Jack 3.
Yeah. Now Diablo's got the nut flush draw with the Ace 9 of Hearts.
We have a bet here by seat 6, I want to say. He bet 50 with Ace 10, a gut
He's got
shot.
the gut shot.
Might call with top pair. Diablo's in there with the nut flush draw.
And Diablo's calls.
Arturo calls with bottom pair, and so does Jesus. Wow. Turn is a jack.
Mike still has the best hand.
Pot's now about 330.
200.
And
the jack of clubs can be used as a scare card if somebody wants to use it.
Well, Mike actually bets 200 now.
200.
Somebody would have raised this. It would be tough for anybody to call.
Well, how about if Diablo raises right now?
Without a doubt.
You know? But he just calls. He just calls.
To use that jack as a scare card. Now, it's tough for Diablo to raise with 3 players behind him.
And the river's a 4, and he doesn't get there. It's about a $750 pot. And it's just going to get checked down. Yeah.
Well, I can't blame Mike for checking the river
Right.
there. What can he beat? He can only beat a flush draw, really.
All right. There you go. No, it was interesting. I was watching something, sometimes you can call the Travel Channel the Las Vegas Channel. They do so many of these features on Vegas, and they were talking about these new blackjack shoes that come out, and for security purposes, they know what everyone holds because of some sort of scan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I haven't seen that show yet.
Kind of tough to cheat Vegas now. I think they have moved up in terms of sophistication along the guys crawling around.
Well, there's always that
catwalks.
constant. The criminals are getting smarter, and then the security system, they get smarter. And constant race.
Well, all you have to do is invent 3D glasses.
There you go.
And then you'll be a great poker player.
Easy enough.
Yeah, he's blind. Yeah, I'm with it.
I wonder how hard that would be. 3D glasses.
Hey, yo prometo. No, I seen.
I mean, what are those cards made out of?
I know he's blind.
It looks like Arturo might be all in here, Dave, free flop.
He's got ace king.
355, he bought in short.
Now, the only thing with this is that he's putting in 355.
Oh, and Jesus calls him with king 10. Wow. Oh, king 9. King 9.
Wow, and George is not in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me.
He was blind. Yeah, really.
King 9. He's going to gamble it up here.
That's pure gamble.
That's a gift for Arturo.
Well, he's got a draw.
Yeah.
He needs a queen for a straight. But that's not. I mean, a 10 for straight will not be good, obviously.
Nine.
No.
I had no blind. Look, I'm glad it's king. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, his 10 was, he's, no good to the higher straight.
Well, right, they both have the gut shot, obviously.
No, I
Would have given Arturo a higher straight.
And the button moves over to seat 5. Jesus.
And congratulations to KevMath. He's actually guessed correctly. Wow, look at another chip count here.
Another chip count, so Jesus back up to about 6,500. And Tommy, Dave, I want to think is the big winner tonight, just from that one pot. He just played tight all night. That one pot, he doubled through. He's up like 5,500 for the night.
Well, I mean, Jesus is probably up close to 5,000 also.
Yeah. And is that it's a bracelet there for Tommy? Is that a World Series bracelet?
It does not look like it.
No?
It looks like it says Tommy on it.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be like, it might be like The Who, type of thing. Yeah, they don't give away those. It's one of those, just in case he forgets his name, he looks down.
Jesus has raised here to 100. He's got King 5 offsuit. And he has raised, I believe, out of the blind? Oh, excuse me, he's on the button. Diablo's got King Jack of Hearts.
Kev Math actually correctly guessed that Nacho was a Mexican Phil Collins impersonator. Yes, you are correct. Nacho actually does a cover band for Phil Collins.
Now Diablo calls King Jack of Hearts. George is in there with the gap-suited connector. And we've got about a $350 pot. And George has got top 2 pair. 10-8-7.
Now, nobody really has much of anything. Diablo's got the backdoor heart draw.
And look at this. George checks into Jesus expecting
And
a
a gut
bet.
shot.
And Jesus did not bet.
Well,
Turns a jack.
it might get Diablo in trouble here.
Now, anyone with a 9 would have a straight. How does George play this now, though? He's got a flush draw as well. He's got 2 pair and a flush draw.
To me, I wouldn't mind a little mini raise. Make it like 400.
Well, he just calls.
Calling can work too, I suppose.
Pot's about 700 now. And the river is a king! Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now the 9 is going to stop anybody from really getting crazy on this one.
Yeah.
Because if you have a 9, you're in good shape.
And he bets.
Nice value bet here by Diablo. I
He
think
bets
he's going to get
400. Now, when people knock us when we say blocker bet, defensive bet, I mean, isn't this a perfect case with King Jack to make that type of bet right now?
I honestly, I don't know if it is, because if you have a 9, aren't you going to... what are you losing to? Queen 9?
Well, I'm just saying that he doesn't want to get bet out of this pot by George. And maybe by checking to him, obviously he's getting all the information
Yeah.
that he needs by betting now that George is not comfortable with his hand.
How about if George
And
was
he's
all
gonna
in
ma-
right now?
Well, yeah, right. Not right now. Not right now. It's a $400 bet here.
Well, George checked the flop. I mean, he checked the flop. It's kind of a dangerous flop to check.
Yeah.
Then the worst card comes up, it's a jack. And now a king comes up, and you go, wow, what can I beat?
It's about an $1,100 pot, $400 to call. And he makes the call. And Diablo's going to flip over King Jack, and that has got to kill George.
I had a feeling it was the river, too.
And he made the call knowing he lost, too.
Yep.
And I think George is probably up for the night, but he's got to be really disappointed with his play
Well,
tonight.
it was a little bit difficult to we'll find out what he actually started the show with. Because, again, we had him at 7,000, but he actually had started less than that because he had lost that big pot. Well, we're getting word that at 6 he had 4,300, and he's down to like 1,800 now, Dave, because at the last chip count we had him at 2,300.
Okay, so he is down.
Yeah, he's got to be
and
down.
amazing.
And actually, we're getting word that he rebought. He actually
Okay.
rebought for 2,400. So there you go.
Wow.
So he is down. He is down.
I thought he would still be up at that. I know he won that big pot with a set of 6s. Well, if he's down $2,000 tonight, he has nobody to blame but himself, huh?
And look at this. He's got ace queen. He makes it 85 to go. And Jesus has got pocket kings. And did Jesus just call with the kings?
Jesus called. He's trying to get tricky.
Wow.
Problem is that's not a big enough bet. He's going to get other players in there.
Yep.
And Tommy's got pocket 6s.
I was going to say maybe pick on the guy that just lost the hand with ace queen. But Jesus just calls with the kings.
I mean,
And I
if
think
George
it was
makes
a-
it 200, you can smooth
Yeah.
call that.
It
But
was
if he
a-
makes it 60, kind of inviting calls.
So here we go. $360 pot. Jack, 5, deuce, couple spades.
Now, Arturo might get himself in trouble there. He's got top pair.
And George checks. Let's see if Jesus bets here.
Wow.
He's going to bet. Well, he bets 500. And I think the raise was actually 90 pre-flop, Dave. So it's more like a $450 pot.
So he's pretty much betting the pot.
Yeah. And it's a $950 pot, 500 to call now.
And what is Arturo going to do? Is he going to get away from this with top pair?
I think he's short. I think he's short. Well, he's got maybe...
Keep picking on this guy.
He doubled up against Jesus, so he's got maybe 800. He has top pair here.
I guess Jesus was just loaning him the money.
And he's going to go all in here, Dave. Yep.
Yeah.
Basically for maybe 800, so maybe 300 more. And Jesus is in great shape.
And your
It's 130 more.
and Jesus is definitely going to call this.
Right.
And Arturo's in bad shape. He's going to need. He's got 5 outs here. He needs a 6 or a jack, or some sort of runner straight.
Pot's about $1,100. The turn is a 10. And the river is an ace. And
No
Jesus
good.
takes it with the king. And there you go.
And Jesus with a big pot.
5,000 es okay. $5,000, no pesos.
And Dave, we've got about maybe a couple more hands left in the show.
Okay.
Lock it. Hey. Lock it.
Well, look at this. Button is in seat 7.
He came back. You're lucky he came back. He's been bust already like 5 times.
Well, Button now is
Small
in-
blind is Lath, $5. Big blind is Tommy, $10. No straddle this hand.
You see the pot already? You don't even think, like, yeah, I got the pot around. Fucking, oh, no, stop. It's like a fucking runaway train. Yeah.
Now, one thing I always like to point out, it's really interesting. People always want to watch this in criticism and go, oh, I would do it this way, I would do it this way. And it's a lot easier, obviously, from this side of the game, you know, because it's not our money. And when you're actually playing with $5,000, $6,000, you know, that's where, you know, you really put to the test.
Now Mike is raised here. Made it 60 to go with King 7 of clubs.
I mean, I know a lot of players that play perfect poker when they're playing at stakes they're comfortable playing at. But suddenly, if you put them out of their comfort zone, you know, they become a little too tight, a little too passive,
Yep.
a little scared.
And we got 4-way action. And then we go ace, 4, 10, couple hearts.
Oh, Jesus is still good, huh?
And Tommy is in the hand there with King Jack suited in seat 9. Turn is a deuce.
And Jesus is still good.
5.
Yeah.
Pair the
And-
board.
Wow,
And
look at that.
And Jesus is still good.
Pocket 3. Is Mike going to bet here? He bets. He bets 200 here on the button, which is about the size of the pot.
I mean, do you believe him, though? He hasn't bet at all.
Would you call here with pocket 3s? I
I
think
don't.
Tommy wants to call with King Jack here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at this going, oh, wait a second. This doesn't make any sense. And that's what Tommy's looking at it.
Well, the only thing I guess you would lose to here is if Mike had King Queen, right? But then wouldn't you think that he would have bet like a gut shot? Because he'll always bet. So it's almost like if you run it back in your head, I think Tommy thinks he has the best hand here.
Well, what? Well, you got to look at it.
Oh, he's going to muck.
If Mike had a 4 or a 10, he's not going to. And Jesus is going to lay it down, and Mike's going to steal the spot.
Yeah.
But if you replay that hand and you think about it, go, okay, well, if he has an ace, a 4, or a 10, there's no way he checks that button. There's no way.
Right.
Come on, Mike.
Dave, this is going to be the last hand of the night.
Show him my bluff. You can take another bluff anyway.
And button now is in seat 8.
I mean, that's one of those cases where you can either say Mike's either got a huge hand, like the absolute nuts, or he's got nothing.
Like pocket aces.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, yeah.
He's got the absolute nuts, or he's got nothing.
Right.
And poor Arturo has gone broke again. Well, we got some fireworks. We're going to have a big hand here. We've got Ace Queen for Mike, King Queen for George,
80.
Ace 10 for Havel.
And George is going to raise here with the King Queen. He makes it 80 to go.
Wow, this will be interesting. Let's see how Mike plays with Ace Queen of clubs.
Jesus calls with 8-3 of clubs in seat 5.
Mike's not one to call with Ace Queen. He'll raise this up.
And it looks like he made it 200 there, Dave.
Yep. He's in position, and he figures he's a good chance of having the best hand.
Somebody raise?
And if George catches a queen here, if he sticks around and catches a queen, he's in big trouble.
Mike, you're sick, man.
Well, it's real tough to call a raise, a re-raise, with King Queen offsuit.
Well, he's going to make the call. Jesus is out of there, so we're heads up.
Ace Queen versus King Queen.
It's about a $500 pot.
George is in bad shape, out of position,
Yep.
with a badly dominated hand.
And I really think that he might go broke here if a queen comes on the flop.
Do you want a queen to flip the flop?
I'm just, no, I'm not rooting
Just
for or
speculating.
against anyone. Yeah. Ooh, King Jack 8.
What a lucky flop. Oh, man.
And it goes check, check, I think.
Oh, Mike's not.
Well, the turn is a 7.
¿Dónde vas con mi feria? ¿Dónde vas con mi feria?
It's about a $500 pot, and George bets here. I think it's
¿Cuánto van a entrar?
225, and look at that, Mike just instantly.
Yeah, let's
hops.
give credit to Mike, though. He didn't fall for the trap. He didn't fall for the old check raise trap. And
If he calls or re-raises, I'm done.
he got rid of it real easy.
Well, he was saying that if he called the re-raise, he knows he's done. That's what he said. He actually had a better hand than pre-flop.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for us, folks, tonight. It was very enjoyable. My partner, David Tuckman. Great job. And stick around for tomorrow night's game. It's going to be 10-20, no limit hold'em, unrestricted buy-in.
Yeah, Friday
Big,
night.
big game
The game we look forward to all week long.
all week long, and we'll probably see some of the usual characters on here. Plus, maybe some more action players. Maybe we can get like a Dimitri in there. People
I
are
heard
familiar
that
with the
Dimitri
show.
is showing up tomorrow. So
Really? Well, for everyone here in the booth and for David Tuckman, I'm Bart Hansen. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.